What's going on, folks? What's going on? Glad to be back here once again. Boxing History, another edition, but this time we're doing an interview. First and foremost, I want to send appreciation to anyone who will be listening on playback. For those that are teeing here now, salute to you. You are appreciated. Shout out to my man, Boxing Betas, Fight Showcases, already in the mix here, showing some love. Says, let's get this, let's do it. Hello to your Boxing Beta. Appreciate you being here without a doubt. Uh, Check him out, folks. Be sure to go subscribe to Boxing Beta. A lot of good content he's doing over there, even an edit that features yours truly, which I think is pretty awesome. Yeah, very much appreciated and salute to you. And I wish you nothing but the best as you continue your YouTube journey. So you're appreciated for sure. So again, yes, thank you for being here. Pretty much, you know how it goes down. We're going to be doing an interview here today. Interview. Real quick, shout out to Random Acoustic Thoughts. Random Acoustic Thoughts in the building. Says Big Up 86. Salute to you, Random. Man, I just met you. And I sent you a message. I called you too. You'll be good to go. You'll be good to go. But yeah, man. Huge storm that just finished up here where I'm at. And man, I had lost power for a quick second, but we're back up. So I had to hit up for man Orlando Hollywood Hollis to let him know what the deal is. But he's hopping on right now. As a matter of fact, I want to make sure I do proper justice and let you know this is Army vet extraordinaire. So it goes deeper than boxing right here. And I want to say welcome to the stream, my man Orlando Hollywood Hollis representing Killen, Texas. How you doing?
All right, all right. Actually, I'm from DC.
Oh, from DC.
Yeah,
Okay,
from
okay.
DC. But I went in the military and was out there in Killen area, in the Killen, Texas.
Okay. From DC. Okay, well, you hear it, folks. You hear it from DC. I know you're a rep in Texas. As a matter of fact, that's where you won the Golden Gloves representing them right there. 94, right?
Yeah, I won the Nationals in '94. Yeah, representing Texas. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
still
good
DC.
stuff. Yeah, DC. You know what? I felt you were very DC. I was like, man, you had been here a minute or something like that, but no, that's good to go. So you,
Yeah.
you are for DC. That's what's up right there. So yeah, salute to everyone in the chat. Salute to Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and all that stuff. Orlando, Hollywood, Hollis. Man, it's so great to get this interview and be able to talk to you. I gotta say, folks, before we dive into it, I gotta let you know how we met. I told you, Army vet. And this just so happened we were at the VA office, which is here in DC, the main one. And I remember walking by these two guys. They were talking about boxing, and usually I just keep going. And but I was saying,
Oh, that is. I forgot that is. I forgot about that.
yeah, you did. I was like, you know what? Let me just say a little something right here. Turns out it's Orlando Hollis. He tells me about his boxing coming up, what he was able to do, all that good stuff. Found out he's an Army vet, me being Marine Corps, so I say hooah, salute, and all that good stuff. So, and then there it is. This is probably about I don't know, this is like 4 or 5, I don't know, 6 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, been a minute. Been a minute. And what do you know? We see each other at the same events, of course, here on the amateur side, because you're also doing coaching right now. So what's that like right there for you right now, coaching? Because I know you put in that work. I see you all the time out there.
I'm in the gym now. I stopped doing what I was doing to do this.
See, he's showing love. He's showing love, folks. Stop doing what he
Yeah.
was doing for you. No, I appreciate it, though.
I love working with the kids. I love giving back what was given to me. That's all, because I started boxing late. I ain't started till I was 19 years old.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
a week before my 19th birthday, my first fight, and I didn't even like boxing. Well, I liked Sugar Ray and all that, but I used to think they was crazy in the ring.
Yeah.
And then I happened to move right by. You heard Tacoma Langley?
Oh, yeah.
It had Alan Nader. He was the coach, the head coach.
Okay.
And my father lived right there, so I happened to go in there and just I went in there and just went in there playing around and stuff. And then next thing you know, I started doing it. But I had never been. All gyms was costing a lot, and I couldn't even afford none at the time. But they was free.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
good stuff. Yeah, see, I didn't even know that. That's crazy. So you got your start 19. Dang, that's insane right there. And typically a late starting boxer. You have some who start super early and all that stuff, but we've seen people be able to get in there, adapt and everything. So you were able to work your way up. Now you boxed in the Army as well. Can you talk about that? Because I think that's a key piece right there. We don't often run into those who won a championship also in the military and all that stuff. So what was that experience like right there?
Okay, let me start like this. When I went to the recruiter and told him I want to come in the Army, I said I wanted to come in and be a boxer. He said, "Oh no, you gotta have a job. You can't be that." But I said, "But I'm gonna be on that boxing team, that Army team." So anyway, so I ended up in Germany for 2 years. I fought in Usera. I didn't lose my fight. I won one, and in the next fight I won, but I broke my hand, so I couldn't fight in the final. And so that was my colonel. He was reading in the paper, and he said, we were in the field. He said, "Why are you out here?" I said, "Well, they don't let me. They wouldn't let me box like that." He said, "Why are you out here?" I said, "Well, they don't let me box like that. I'm in the field." He said, "Pack your stuff up and go on back to the bird." And I never saw the field again.
Wow.
I was in 10 years. In my first 2 years, I was, boxing on my own,
Mm-hmm.
And then when that colonel told me that, I ain't never had to do the unit stuff no more.
Okay, then yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so yeah, you rose to that top level because I remember, in the Marine Corps, I remember there were people that boxed, and I never did. I remember I wanted to in Japan, but yeah, I ended up getting going to the field, got to go to Iraq, all that good stuff. But I know that they had teams, and once you rose up there, and they were having tournaments, they were having all that good stuff. So you got to stand above the fray, and you were able to do so. So in that, so how did that feel? I know you were in the amateur world, or at least you were doing stuff on the amateur side. You thinking about it from the military standpoint. How did that compare, just like the military, and then ultimately that jump to the pros?
I was in the best shape of my life in the military, because it was my job, so I had to get up every day and do. We ran, every day and did all the stuff every day. That was our job, so that's why I was in my best shape in the military. And then what happened was when I left Germany, I was in what they call a cohort unit. So the whole unit, they PCS, they travel, they leave together. So my whole unit left. I had that same colonel. He said, when you come, like when you got there, we had to do the, clean our vehicles and all that stuff. Then he said, when you go on your leave and come back, go try on that team, try out for the team. When I got on Fort Hood boxing team, that was the best thing could ever happen. Because they had an A team, a B team, and a C team. Everybody on the A team was in the top 10 in every weight class.
Okay.
So
wow.
I had no choice but to get good if I want to stay on this team. Yeah, we had like Eddie Cook, Eddie Cook, Al Cole, from let me see, from Alton Rice from DC. He passed away, rest in peace. He was on that team. Alton Rice was on the team. Man, it was a lot of top ranked dudes. Al Cole, you heard of Al Cole? Al Ice Cole. He was a cruiserweight champion for a while.
Okay. Yeah. He was so he was on the squad here in Fort Hood.
Say it again.
He was in Fort Hood or on that team?
I was in Fort Hood. When I left Germany, I was in Fort Hood. I spent all the rest of my time in Fort Hood because they delete any orders I get on to keep me over there.
Wow. That is crazy. So yeah, that's where the Killen connection comes from right there. Then yeah,
right.
That's right there.
That's the town right there.
Yeah. Okay. Dang. That's super dope right there. Real quick, shout out to Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz. Shout out to my man Hyphy, Random, everyone else still in the mix here. But no, that's cool right there. So man, Fort Hood. So I know you won the 1994 Golden Gloves at 147 pounds, and hey, it was a lot of top level competition in that tournament. Even I know Floyd Mayweather was in that tournament and all that stuff. What was that experience like doing that?
Okay, let me tell you. All of us that won the National Gold Glove, we end up on the same, like a team that go travel, right?
Yeah.
You ever heard, they used to have this thing called the U.S. Olympic Festival. You heard of that?
Yes. I actually had some photos of that. I'm gonna have to share those as well with you up there in the mix right there.
Oh, I'm in that too.
Yeah. There's one with you in it.
Okay, so check this out. So all of us that won the National Golden Glove that year, we had a killer team. We had Antonio Tarver, we had me, we had Floyd Mayweather, we had dude named Nate Jones. You know, he the one always had that pad on working with
Okay.
Floyd.
Yeah.
Man, we had a bunch of killers. And I was always saying, why do they make the U.S. national team number one? Because they consider them number one. And the Golden Glove, we had like 11. It was 12 weight class then. We had 11 in the finals, and I think we won like 9. So that told me right there that the Golden Glove team was like that.
Oh yeah. No doubt about it.
Let me tell you real quick. It was a lot of good fighters in that way. Dude named Robert Frazier. I beat him. He ended up being when Winky Wright first for the title. That was his opponent right there.
Oh wow.
He was no contender. The guy who went to the 90. This was 94. I won the thing. The guy I beat in the 94 in the championship. He went to the 96 Olympics and got the bronze medal. Rashad Wells, rest in peace.
Okay,
I beat him in the final. He ended up going to the 96 Olympics.
Dang. So he ended up going to the Olympics, not you.
I didn't, because I went pro, and I figured while I'm on top, go ahead and turn pro. But that didn't work out the best either, because I couldn't get no deal because my age. You know, everybody kept trying. I ain't know they were angry. They was trying to get me live on my age and stuff, and I wasn't doing it. I wasn't selling my soul.
No. I feel you on that. I feel you from that standpoint. Yeah. So yeah, this would have been after you had done your thing. You were in the Army and all that stuff, right? So this is in the aftermath of that. Where this when you got immediately out of the Army right here?
You said when I turned pro?
Yeah, when you turned pro.
Yeah, what happened? This is what happened. When I got out, I couldn't get a deal. So I ended up going to college. And so then, I started going to college when I got out. And then I ended up, somebody told me to go and fight for the gloves. I ended up winning the gloves. That was my first fight back, the gloves. The region and the state and all that. So then I went on and stopped going to school because there was so much boxing going on. Mm-hmm. Then after that, we fought in that Olympic Festival thing, right? So we had like 11 in the finals. After that, then I won the. I only heard the one that Tyson got in trouble with the pageant girl, the Black Expo in Indiana. So that was a big one. The Muhammad Ali tournament. I went and won that after that, and then I just went on and turned pro. But I couldn't get a deal, so I ended up getting somebody with some money. He don't know nothing about it.
No, I feel you right there. Hey, gotta eat,
But that hurt me in a way because he didn't know nothing about boxing. I ain't know nothing about the pros. So when I won my first 2 fights, my first 3 fights, look at it, was 3 undefeated fighters. First one, and I fought near home, 5-0, 7-0, and 5-0. The 7-0 dude was with Top Rank. I beat him. Top Rank called me that night to sign me. So I told my manager, I want to sign. All I knew was I want a signing bonus. So he came back and said, there is no signing bonus, but you got a promotional contract. I ain't know nothing about that then. So I turned it down.
Okay.
And that's what happened with my career right there. I turned that down. Everything else was, I had to fight whoever then.
Okay. Dang. So dang, turned it down. Yeah, Top Rank. We know they're one of the players there in the mix here right now. Bob Arum, that group and all that stuff. Now, when you kept going, so you were still working with the same manager, so it was just pretty much you were just kind of looking for, hey, when the opportunity came, you would just take it, even if it was at a disadvantage for yourself.
Yeah, like when I fought for my North American title, I was on the B side. I just happened to win.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I knew I was gonna win, but they were looking at me. I was getting older, so I turned pro late. So I think I was like 30. I was like 30 when I fought for that title. Then I fought the Texas State title. And I was, I was up there. So them young guys thought they could get me because I was older, but I was still in shape. I was still in military shape.
Yeah. That's no joke right there. The military shape, without a doubt. So, dang good. Yeah. So, then, I know we were talking about some of that. And, it's one of those things that when you're in the mix as well, a lot of stuff comes with it when you're a pro, and then you win it and all that good stuff, and then. Hey, there's some distractions out there and all that good stuff. I know you're telling me about that. Maybe some distractions and everything. So it at one point maybe you weren't even in the best shape you could. You could still get by and beat a lot of these dudes, but you knew that like, hey, I probably could have went harder with it in terms of what I was doing outside of it, right?
I learned that stay ready when the opportunity comes. You got to be ready because I fought this guy named what was his name? Okay. Um, what's his name? Diaz.
Antonio Diaz.
Yeah, Antonio Diaz.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what
yeah.
happened was he was perfect for me. I like shorter fighters,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
wasn't in no shape. I wasn't in no shape. When I tell them they had to come get me, they had to come get me in like about 2 weeks. They had to come get me from over girls' house and stuff like that just to get me to make weight, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So we couldn't turn the money down. I had rent was due and everything else.
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
so he was somebody I could have beat. I really did. And in the fight, if you ever watched that fight, I didn't throw many punches. I was trying to save my energy to the 10th round. 10th round, believe it or not, I was gonna give me all I had.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But in the 10th round, I took a knee and they started the fight. And the reason I took a knee is because I learned in another fight. Okay, there was a fight. I hate to say this, but there was a fight. I was fighting for the NABA title, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So he hit me in the eye, and I couldn't see that good. So as he was coming for me, I said, "Time out,"
Oh,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
stopped the fight. So they explained to me that was a no standing 8 count. They had to stop the fight. So this fight, I took a knee because I learned to do that. And when I
Yeah,
did
yeah,
that,
yeah, right.
they didn't stop the fight. Yeah, so
Yeah, that's crazy because that is what they tell you. You don't take a knee. You take the knee. You're supposed to get there standing 8 as opposed to an immediate stop.
yeah.
And the referees, I know they're taught this, right?
But my manager told me, he said, that they probably looked at the fact I wasn't like a knockout artist, and then I was down on points big, so they said that's why too. So that made a little sense.
No, okay. Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. Boxing, hey, you never know what's going on in the sport of boxing. Again, folks here with Hollis holding it down. But yeah, just overall, just thinking about the journey and all that stuff, and yeah, your career being in the sport, being one of the ones who actually was in there, you were in there with some top level competition and all that stuff. Like, how do you feel? How do you sum it up? Or like, what's your mindset now, especially as a trainer side? You see different things or some stuff that you may have changed or that you can essentially pass on now to some of these younger fighters.
Yeah, I'm passing it all on now, but I look at it like, like I said, it's part of it is me handing down what I learned, and and then when I think about it, I learned that first of all, in the pros, it's really not how good you are; it's how good your team is. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got a good promoter. You always win the B side. You got harder. Ain't like you can't get it, but it's harder chance. So you're only as good as your team, for real. I don't care how good you are. You can't do this by yourself. Not this box. You just can't.
Wow, yeah, that is big though. That is big, like you're saying, and even on the amateur side, just from seeing it, yeah, of course, I see you out there at the stuff, but you can see that some coaches are different. They aren't as dedicated in there with their guys, and these are young kids and all of that stuff. And some of them, you think they're looking out for them in a better fashion and all that stuff, and that's not necessarily the case right there. So you're right on the team aspect of it. And I think that is huge in the sport. So, and yeah, just from knowing how you interact, just based on our interactions, all that stuff, I know it's always been positivity, always been good stuff. So I know you stand on what you stand on. So that is a plus that, they have you in their corner right there working out where you are working in the gym where you're at right now, so it's always cool to see you at the events and seeing how you operate.
Yeah. And like I said, I just teach them what I learned, through my coaches. Matter of fact, rest in peace to my coach, Ronnie Hughes. He was also a good fighter. He beat Holyfield International.
Oh, wow,
and,
wow.
If you read Holyfield book, it's in there.
Okay.
Because Ronnie kept that. He kept it on that page, hung up somewhere, where everybody had to see it. And rest in peace to my manager. He had passed away too, so. The team I had, everybody passed away with me, and I was almost out of there. I was in a serious car accident, but everybody but me. That's why I used to when I walk. Yeah, if you ever get a chance, Google Miracle Man, like the Miracle Man. What's a fighter? They call him Miracle Man.
Danny Jacobs.
Danny Jacobs. But see, I was the Miracle Man first. You can read the article. It says Miracle Man Orlando Hollis in 2004. And, you know, the car, they said they didn't expect to see no life in that accident. So,
Wow.
You know, I'm happy. They said he a fighter.
Hey, yeah, right. No doubt about it. You are a fighter in that sense. True sense of the word right there. In the ring and outside the ring. But no, that's good stuff right there. Now, do you watch some of the stuff going on now? What do you think, Spence Crawford? I want to know what are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah. Let me tell you this. See, I could be biased. I don't know because I know Derek James. You know, I was fighting out of Texas. You know, we all fought together.
Oh yeah, that is true.
So, matter of fact, I went to one of the fights. You know, and you know, I got pictures of me and him and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm going with. I don't know if it's biased, but you know, because I know him. I'm going with Spence, and not really just that. I didn't realize Spence was so much bigger than Crawford. I thought Crawford was taller and bigger, and when I found out that, I'm with Spence on 12 rounds. I'm with Spence breaking him down. I'm sorry. I know that Crawford got all this stuff. But, I'm just saying, I'm putting mine on Spence. Remember, I said it.
Okay, you got it on Spence. Real quick, shout out to my mom in here listening in. Salute to your mother jumping in the mix. We're here with Hollis, but no, I'm with you. I saw them at the weigh-in and the press conference. Yeah, you can tell that Spence is bigger without a doubt.
Spence is bigger. I mean, I thought Crawford was probably taller and stuff. He's not nowhere near that.
Yeah, and you know he came up from lightweight. Of course, he's been doing his thing, and he's been running through some cats and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But he is a dog there when he's in the trenches, and the way he handled Ugas showed me that he's still on top of his game right there. So that is
beat what's the Cuban when he first got out on the scene when he first gave notice that he out there when he fought the Cuban what's the Cuban name he fought? It was real good.
Crawford Gamboa.
What's his name?
Gamboa.
Yeah, that's when he first looked. You know, because I thought he was gonna lose that fight. I didn't know who he was then.
Yeah.
And so ever since then, he's been showing out. So it's not like he ain't gonna show out. I mean, this is gonna be a good fight.
Okay.
This gonna be a good fight, and I'm going with Spence.
Okay.
I ain't seen Crawford really. I seen him do all this stuff. But I haven't seen him really under pressure for like 12 rounds.
Okay.
And I believe pressure coming.
Oh yeah.
Pressure was fight.
No, you're right. Hey, I've been saying Crawford, you know, but every time I ask a boxer, they generally say Spence, you know. They know about that side and how they still factor in. I asked Demond Nicholson, he was on and he said Crawford, or he said Spence as well. He was talking about that size and how when he starts to dig in, hey, it's a different game.
I ain't realize he was that big.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if it's that he that small or he that big, but
yeah, kind of maybe a mix of both of them right there, kind of like the perfect storm. But it is a top level matchup. Definitely. Real quick, I did want to ask you, as far as I know, you got in the sport late, so. When you were younger, did you watch boxing? Did you have any boxers that you looked at in history or anything of that nature? Or it's kind of just hey, when the sport came to you, then you kind of just jumped in the mix from there?
No, I didn't really I really thought they was crazy at first. But I love Sugar Ray Leonard and I love Holyfield. As I started boxing, I love Holyfield.
Okay.
I just love the way he was this warrior. I'm talking about his young days.
Iron Man right there.
Those were the two I was following: Sugar Ray Leonard and Holyfield. I love the way Holyfield used to fight. Early on.
Yeah. No, you're right. He was a beast. Hey, definitely one of the best. You know, they talk about it, throwback fighters right there. Yeah, both of them.
Fernell I ain't a southpaw, but I love Fernell.
Fernell. Hey, man. Wizard in there without a doubt. So no, and Sugar Ray Palmer Park representing out there. So no, that's good stuff right there. Cool. No, I appreciate that. You know, and I appreciate you taking the time to jump on and talk with me and all that stuff as well. You know, and as I always say, Army vet. You're doing your thing now. You
Cool.
won the championship in the Army as well, right? You won the Army
I won the
championship, right?
Armed Forces, yeah, the Army.
Armed
I won the
Forces.
Army
Oh,
and the
Armed
Armed
Forces
Forces.
championship.
Oh, and I got the bronze in the World Military Game.
Okay, World
That's
Military
called
Games. So
CISM. CISM. CISM.
CISM.
I can't tell you what it meant, but that's the acronym. CISM.
Okay, so yeah, that's an expanded version right there. So that's from all
I
the
fought in
countries,
the
right?
World Military. I fought in the World Regular World, and I fought in the World Championship for the U.S. You know that, right?
Yeah, right.
And I fought in the Military World.
Okay.
World Military. I was right. I got the bronze in that.
Okay, dang, yeah, good stuff right there. That is pretty dope right there. Cause I remember, yeah, we had discussed, yeah, you doing your thing in the military, and I was like, hey, that's top notch. Cause you know, you were if you were in and all that stuff, you would hear about different boxers and everything every time they would have these major tournaments and everything.
Everybody talk about the Marines, but I used to beat the Marines up.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So hey, Terrence Crawford repping the Marines, Errol Spence gonna be repping the Army. We're gonna see what happens. No, good stuff. No, who for sure. But no, man, hey, I truly appreciate it. You know, hey, it was like a good thing. Just that day, just running into you, talking about boxing, jumping in the mix, and like, hey, I was like, hey, I gotta say something. I gotta say something right there. Hey, and I appreciate you always seeing you at the events and everything. Man, we're gonna have to do this again for sure. I know you got to get back to your thing because you out there putting in that work, training, getting these young money and all that stuff. I can't hold you for too long. Look at that. Look at that. It does not stop. It does not stop.
So I'm the gym I'm at is Flatline Boxing and Fitness. So you know, come on out here and check it out. Flatline.
Okay.
Flatline.
Okay, good to go. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna be out. All right, good. I'm gonna be out there and check it out. Hey, we might have to do something. We might have to do one in person. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely get out there one of these days, check you out for sure. Because hey, it's always good chatting with you.
Do that, man. And I appreciate. It was my pleasure. I appreciate you talking to me.
Oh yeah, no problem at all. Hey, you have a good one. Until next time. Yeah, we're gonna run into each other. So yeah, I'll be in contact. So yeah, definitely have a good one. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, thanks, bro.
All right, have a good one. All right, folks. There it is. Orlando Hollywood Hollis. Salute to everyone. Salute to everyone still in the mix here. Hey, great time right here. Didn't want to hold him too long, but man, Orlando Hollywood Hollis. Salute Flat Boxing. Flat Boxing sending love to 86 random. Let's go, everyone. Appreciate you. But man, great chatting with Hollywood Hollis. Yeah, very much. Hey, DC, you know, I was thinking he was from Texas. I hadn't even dove into him. You know, women talk about this all the time. Men, I guess in a lot of cases, you know, they'll be out there, they'll be chatting and all that stuff and not even know a brother name, don't know where they're from, none of that stuff. You know, it's one of those things. I was thinking he was from Killen, Texas, you know, but he was just representing there because he was in the Army. So salute to all the veterans. You know, we have a lot of veterans who check out this channel. Always showing love. You know, it's always great to actually have discussions on such and interview individuals. So, man, it's good to chat with Orlando. Hey, I'm going to have to do something from the gym there. I'm going to, have to go and check him out for sure. Hey, a lot of boxing in this area. Then on the amateur side, you run into some individuals. So this kind of small world thing. I ran into him at the VA hospital here in Washington, D.C. And basically just connected with him from there. So salute to everyone for checking this out. Random Acoustic Thoughts. Random, I know we have a live that we were talking about coming up. As a matter of fact, I know if you want to hop on there, Random, we can talk about what is upcoming. I know you're probably en route and all that good stuff. I'm going to text you the link right here, but very, very good stuff that is going on. Random and I, we actually were doing a discussion over on his channel for the past 2 days. As a matter of fact, we were going to do one today. Man, it was a crazy storm here. You wouldn't even notice the way it looks right now because it's died down. But I was woken by some crazy. I had took a nap. Crazy thunder, or and it looked like it was going to be a tornado out here. And man, it was crazy. I thought I was going to have to actually postpone this, but then, the power went out, but came back, and I was like, you know what? We got to do it. We got to do it. So Random says, let's do it. I shot you the thing, Random. So certainly, Random, we can hop up in this thing, and yeah, we can make it happen. But yeah, Random and I were doing some fantasy fight discussions, and this was surrounding just some fights that we put together that were pretty interesting matchups. Some very intriguing, some very, very thought-provoking. And it was things like Bob Fitzsimmons versus Archie Moore, old mongoose. Freckled Bob, the fighting blacksmith. And we know these are two heavyweights as it relates to boxing history. And that's literally and figuratively. But certainly big names. I actually put a poll on the channel right now. It's kind of a landslide for Archie Moore. I think if you polled individuals just on a random basis, then in all likelihood, there are probably more who know Archie Moore, just given the fact that there's a lot more content on Archie Moore. We know he fought for a long time. The greatest older fighter, I guess it could be arguable, but for the most part, seemingly the greatest older fighter, what he was able to do at a later stage in his career, age-wise, and still be able to maintain that high level of performance, similar to like Bernard Hopkins, but on a more sustained level, at least, or longer years, more fights, because, in the more modern era, and Bernard Hopkins had a pretty solid amount of fights for the modern era fighters, but certainly back in Archie's time, his day, we were going for hundreds, and he's one of those individuals. But very excellent matchup, and we both shared our dialogue on it. Be sure to check his channel out, Random Acoustic Thoughts, at Random Acoustic Thoughts, and you'll be able to dive into some of that information. We looked at some other ones as well, the likes of Sam Langford versus Muhammad Ali. Super tough. I feel like, there were some hit and misses. I got Random up in the mix here, but I feel like I had some hit and mixes in this first stream. I feel like I had some good dialogue on some stuff. Then the second one, on some of them, they were so tough. And I was like, man, should I have broken it down a different way? But hey, it's all fun, love, and games. And, we just love the boxing history. So salute to you, Random. What's going on, buddy?
Chilling, man. Thanks for having me on. Good interview there. I got to listen to about 4/5 of it, but I had to go away. I was making some I got inspiration to make some graphics, so I'll also join the playback gang tonight at work. But thanks for having me on, man. Yeah, these were tough. I purposefully made only one or two were like obvious, like Gans and the great Benny Leonard. Those guys, you have to do something like that. Just like we know we got to do Robinson, Ray Leonard. Like, you got to do it.
Oh, yeah.
You can't not do it because of the particular attributes. It's a perfect fight, just like Gans and Benny Leonard. So certain matchups, though, were a little less obvious. I didn't want to go with the obvious choices all the time. We can still do the obvious choices. In fact, I'd like to do Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis, prime versus prime, maybe even early prime and then late in their careers, because they were both world class late in their careers. They just weren't what they once were. Like Langford, you can be world class and still not be the best guy.
Yeah, that is true. But no, that's like some of those are just heavyweight, heavy hitters. Louis, Ali, that's one that's been talked about over time. And you have, I know, varying opinions. And I know we were chatting a little earlier, just even the likes of Louis Johnson. That's one. If you think about those three in terms of, because there was a connection, just a real-time connection between physical connection, that is, between Jack Johnson, Joe Louis, and Muhammad Ali, as the title changed hands, and each of them kind of saw the other as they rose to their prominence. Of course, Jack Johnson being the first one, so he saw Louis, and then he got to see Ali. So that trio right there is also a pretty remarkable one. And then you throw Sam Langford in the mix, man, that can muffle up a lot of things.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. So we're gonna have to get Dempsey in there. Some part of me wants to do Dempsey Marciano. I think that's very intriguing.
Very,
Great
very much.
hookers against one of the great hookers, and very we're talking at his best. Dempsey, pretty fast mover, vicious hooks. Marciano, both guys like to come in low and explode. I guess in their primes they were probably about the same weight.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. What was the Marciano? 5'10", 5'10 and a half? Dempsey was a touch taller than that, if I'm not mistaken. I don't actually know.
Dempsey about 6'1", Dempsey.
Oh, I didn't realize he was that tall. But they're both like what, roughly in their mid 180s?
Yeah,
or upper 180s
like a 187 Dempsey is like a, prime 180 Marciano or whatever it might have been, that he, kind of just maximized his weight and just optimal performance.
Oh, that's what's up. Yeah, we gotta, we could almost do a show, do this kind of thing, but do it as a 4-man one-night tournament. Well, not necessarily a one-night tournament, but we'll go through the brackets, and depending on our choices, then the finals might be different. Because some of these guys, like Lewis, Ali, Jack Johnson, and Langford in a 4-man tournament, draw lots to see the fights, but and then do that for early and late era, in each era, as far as depending on each matchup. That would be a nice little thing. But I'm really looking forward. I got some ones ready. I got some for you. I got a couple obvious ones, like I said, Lewis, Ali. I got a couple others that might be, they're fighters but they might not be matchups that you and I can tell you, I've been trying to matchmake Jimmy McLarnin.
Oh yeah.
His absolute best in his fighter. And his fight style and those combos to the body, you try to hold him upstairs, he's just going to wail on your body. In mixed rules, Nick Diaz would do those bang, 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 bang to the body. And then when you finally go to counter, he comes over the top with a hook or an overhand, very, very messing with people when they're trying to take control of the fight. McLarnin, what I've seen of him on footage, very clever fighter, good head movement, good sense of rhythm. Good stuff. So yeah, we're gonna be matching him and matching him tough.
Yeah, he's a tough one right there. Well, yeah, he is certainly a tough one. It'll be very interesting. Real quick, shout out to man Flat Boxing says, shout out to Mike Mateague, boxed from 1914, 1930, using the form of the Philly shell in the 20s. No doubt about it. Salute. Flat Boxing throwing out a name, Mike Mateague. He gets some mention and all of that stuff these days, but definitely not enough and not a ton of mention. And he is one of those guys who was a true player during that era and one of the better boxers to not get that same recognition as some of his contemporaries right there. So that's a good name to throw out there, Flat Boxing. Mike Mateague, very tough fighter right there. Haven't done a video directly on him outside of a photo animation video, but he's someone you could certainly dive into his career, and I think it would surprise a lot of people. Flack also says Jeanette Jeffries, 20-25 rounds. That's another interesting one right there. Iron Man Joe Jeanette versus James J. Jeffries. Both of them built to go the distance for sure, so would be very intriguing thinking about it.
Yeah, that would be. Now, let me ask you something. What was Julian Jackson's best weight?
I think 154. I think most would probably say 154.
All right, what would he do?
A lot of pop. 154, 160. I say you could say in that middleweight range.
So he might have come into the fight around 170 if he didn't have to cut weight.
Yeah, probably. You could argue somewhere in that range.
170, 175. Yeah, I kind of feel like matching Julian Jackson with Fitz. Guys that could really crack, and Fitz wasn't that big, so that's what I'm thinking. If Fitz was walking around as a super middle for parts of his career when he was fighting weight, he had no business giving up those pounds, but he hit hard enough they had to respect his space. I'd be interested to see Jackson because he has some good shots, and also from close range, some of his best, coolest knockouts. He didn't have a lot of space to work with. The one guy, he made him do the chicken dance, and if it was a kind of a tight left hook he hit him with, it wasn't, to my recollection, it wasn't he didn't have to wind up at all. But that might be an interesting, unlikely matchup. Some of these guys who cut a lot of weight, we could match them size for size. You could have Calzaghe fight Jack O'Brien. No, actually, you couldn't. Calzaghe was always bigger than O'Brien. O'Brien, I think he was best around 160 and a little bit above.
Yeah, because he was a middleweight. You know, I think he might have even fought. I'm trying to think back weight wise, just under 160 as well. Thinking about it in his career, I would have to
Yeah,
really look back through, but I believe he might have fought under 160. So yeah, he was one of those guys who rose with the weights. Not
yeah.
uncharacteristic, I'm sure.
I think I remember seeing him. It might have been mid career, but like he was making a claim. I think it was 158 pounds. Because
Yeah, because I know.
sometimes the title claim is just like I'm the best 158er in the world. Come get that money because he was a draw and he fought a lot.
Mhm.
So guys are like, whatever, man, let's fight. You can say that, and if I beat you, I can say it now. But
Yeah, I remember
yeah, it gets complicated at times.
Yeah, I remember because I know he fought Tommy Ryan, and I want to say that might have been in the 150s range. Tommy Ryan, he routinely came in at around 150 something, not really full fledged middleweight. And they would sometimes even advertise some of the middleweight title fights in the 150s during that period, even though there weren't, those in between weight classes. So that is an intriguing one. And I see Flat mention that. Yeah, that's a great matchup. Calzaghe versus O'Brien. Yeah, it's very intriguing. I will say, and O'Brien won the light heavyweight title, so both of them will have some form of a connection.
Yeah, and Calzaghe, like he did a lot to get down to 168. I'm pretty sure he debuted as a pro at 168 too. I mean, he was a three-weight champ as
Yeah,
an amateur, but like once he hit pros, he was 168 until he made that final jump at the end for the money fights. But yeah, you could say maybe he was okay 168. He's probably at least 178. But Jack O'Brien at 160, 168, walking around at 168 was a very formidable and quick fighter and could fight long fights if he needed to, even though he
yeah,
was more of a 6 round specialist. Because I'm pretty sure there's a video of him and Tommy Burns doing a 20 rounder. It's
yeah,
over an
yeah,
hour. And I think I'm not sure if he was a little bit older then, because Burns came to prominence a little later. So that might have been a
yeah,
past prime.
yeah.
It wasn't like
He was a little bit older because he started. Well, he made his debut in 1896, so he wasn't old as in the amount of years, but certainly the amount of fights.
yeah, definitely. By the time he was like at the end when he's getting the fights with John, he was such a big deal. So Johnson and Langford and all these guys would fight him because he was a big name and he was capable. He was just getting older, and but he fought a lot of people. Jack O'Brien had a lot of big fights in his career. Some of them were 6 rounds, some of them were longer. But he was someone that you could legitimize yourself against because he had fought such a schedule. Like in 1902, his 1902 is absolutely insane. Some of them are 6 rounds, but you'd be like, whoa, he fought a lot of heavy duty people all in 1 year, like a tour. Crazy stuff. Like
Yeah,
I said on another live, I saw in the paper they made a big deal because he stopped fighting to go to Jamaica and get a break. That's how busy he was. It was that they were actually like, he's going to take some time off finally. Crazy
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, maybe we'll do that. Calzaghe, Jack O'Brien, or someone else of comparable size with Jack O'Brien. That would be good.
Yeah, and then I was looking at so he actually fought Burns twice. The first one being a draw for 20 rounds, and then excuse me, Burns won the 20 round decision. I believe the video that might be referenced. I want to say that's the 20 round decision video. Uh, I could be wrong, but certainly, but yeah, O'Brien came into that contest with like over 160 fights, so he put in a lot of work.
Yeah, I should probably do a talk on his year-to-year schedule because he's one of those great fighters that you can literally pull up like baseball stats. Like here's how many games they had that year, win, loss, draw, how many rounds they did. Like it's not as formulaic as like baseball, or football, but some of these fighters you can literally keep stats. Some of the great rivalries, like Ted
Yeah.
Lewis, Jack Britton. You can count newspaper decisions or not. I mean, they were fighting like their asses off either way. But like Langford, a lot of his opponents, you can do stats because the series are long enough. More well-known series, obviously Jeanette McVeigh and Wills, but lesser-known series too. He had with guys, pretty sure Al Kubiak and Jim Barry and
Mhm.
young Peter Jackson, Dave Holly. There were a lot of them. Andy Watson. I got to think for a second. But at different times in his career, he had these guys, these rivals, and he would beat on them.
Yeah.
Battling Jim Johnson. So yeah, it's interesting like that. So I'd like to highlight more like when boxing was a season, and at the
One
end of
of
the
the
year,
major varieties of opponents, when you think about it.
That's right. So that's sometimes why these guys could claim a championship at a weight, because they were putting in so much work. You'd be like, well, he may very well be, official title or not, or invented title. They're all ultimately invented, of course, but official or not, like look at the schedule. Look who he's beaten everyone. He's made the real claim, which is he's gone around and tried his hand, and that's why I like certain careers like Joe Gans. If you look at his career separate from the title, his title reign, you look at the tours he was doing all over, taking on top guys from different areas, sometimes at home in Baltimore, sometimes on the road, like public, private. Joe Gans fought some dudes. What a great career. It was fun matching him up with Benny Leonard. It's a tough fight for both guys, though. That might be a draw. That might be a draw. Holy cow.
Yeah, certainly. You know, that was a tough one for me. Definitely, very fond of both of them, and I think you could go either way depending on the circumstance of everything, and you could probably switch it up on any given day. And real quick, shout out to Dan. Dan, the man in the mix, says Philadelphia Jack O'Brien was getting ready to retire, very old, still fought to draws for the heavyweight title with Burns and Jack Johnson. Yes, indeed, Dan. Salute to you, Dan. Appreciate you dropping by, buddy. But yeah, Philadelphia Jack, he started to fight a bit more sporadically there during that period. And Flack says John L. Sullivan versus Sam McVeigh, let the leather fly. Interesting one right there. Very, very interesting.
That is interesting. We could look at that at some point. I don't see why not. You know, we need to match make great Ali's contemporaries. We need to match like Frazier up with someone, and we need to cross generationally and match up Foreman.
Oh yeah.
How about Foreman, Primo Carnera? Primo could take it, but he wasn't the most limber. He was big for his size, but you know what I mean, like. But at his very best, Primo and Big George.
Foreman gets him out of there. I can go ahead and give you the prediction right now. Foreman gets him down and out of there.
Yeah, that might be a fun matchup. I mean, it would be kind of fun to talk about. Maybe let's match a lesser fighter with
exciting
with
though. Exciting. That would be an exciting one though, I'd imagine.
Yeah, we'll figure out someone, you know, but we should match. We should go from the two richest eras heavyweights and then start cross-pollinating these
You know, and I think it's safe to throw Sullivan in the mix because he is one of those guys who, while we don't have, footage, we do have a number of accounts. We know he's a very offensive fighter, offensively geared, and in the early parts of contest, he would be turning it on full speed, full steam ahead, swinging with heavy punches to try and get his opponents out of there early. And the majority of his career, contrary to some of the thought behind it, was under Marcus of Queensberry rules. So when he was in those gloves contests, man, he was aiming for demolition. So he would get a lot of guys out of there early because he had a number of these 4-round type competitions where, hey, if you could stay in the ring with them for 4 rounds, then you could get $1,000, which would have been pretty significant back during that time. So he was very much an offensive fighter. So it'll be good to see how he matched with like a McVeigh or other fighters who we know that in the early part of the contest are super dangerous.
Yeah, I like that. I like that one. Hammer and anvil, smash the guard and and then either send the hook or send that straight across, but with bullish strength. Because, there's different versions. And in his own era with the small, maybe skin-tight gloves or just something minimal, smash, man, smash. And, that's an interesting fight. McVeigh could fight. That would actually be a really good matchup, I think, because McVeigh was technical. He could fight on the retreat and stuff like that. But, you're both famously hard men.
We had kind of chimed in on this, but he in Australia, I know he fought in some of those MMA style fights where you could do a bunch of wrestling, holding, and other stuff that wasn't necessarily boxing.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a picture in a book I'd purchased on Jeanette, like a story about. It's like a first-person story about Jeanette, but then it's got real quotes from the man in the book. So it's like a different kind of take. It's not like a documentary style. It's more like a first-person docudrama with some artistic license. But there's the photos are exceptional. They're worth the price of the book, even before the text is involved. But there's one of Joe Jeanette working with, I can't remember his name, Mark Gachet or something like that, but a catch wrestler. And he's in the guy's like guard or half guard. And that's around 1909. Those guys, when they were in Paris, they were doing other stuff too. And as you've mentioned many times, Josh, exhibitions, man, that's how people get have always gotten paid. If you're famous enough, you can get paid without fighting. You can show up at places. Guys you don't have to be a boxer now, but like when the boxers were celebrities, just like today, hey, I'll give you $5,000, come chill at my club for like 10 minutes. Just show up, order a drink. You don't have to drink it, show up. So, $5,000 so we can say you were here. Well, boxers are like that too. When you're Jack Johnson, once he won the whole shebang and he unified his long held, 5.5-year colored heavyweight title with the formerly basically white title. And he was the absolute man. Man, he can make money. That little money for the Langford fight that he agreed to when he before he got the fight with Burns was then they amended the date after he got the fight with Burns. It got moved from February 2009 to May 2009. But he was like, show me the money. Right or wrong, he was like, I'm the man now, man. I'm going to do a tour. I think he did like a speaking tour, and then he went back home to America, turned down some different fights, including 3 other fights with Langford. There was one offered in, I think it was Chicago, Boston, and New York. All wanted it. I don't know if it was Chicago or Philly. I forget. Yeah. But the point is, he can make mad money. He can make mad money. It was time for business. So other fighters have done that. That's a normal thing. So these exhibitions now, Fury, what he's doing is he's making a huge pile of money to fight a guy who's got a little, I guess, kickboxing experience, but he's a heavy-handed mixed rules fighter. That's bank for everyone. Ngannou's going to make more than he's made in his whole career combined, probably a multiple of that, because MMA pays so shit, even the top stars.
Yeah, so this alone will make that move from the UFC pay off right here in terms of the financial aspect.
Everything he's worked for and everything he's accomplished in his career financially isn't worth as much as this one freak show fight against Fury. Because that's what boxing does. You never forget that, folks. When you be like MMA, be like the UFC. You want to be like the UFC where they give like, I don't know what it is now. It used to be 16% of the revenue goes to the athletes.
Yeah.
Everything else is operating costs and profit for the corporate overlords, including a lot of celebrities who bought shares, so they get a piece of it too. The Rock, he's even got a shoe deal with them. Think they get anything off of that? They killed the sponsorship.
No, that was one of the complaints. That was one of the complaints that the deal was made. They had to wear them, but nobody got any share of the revenue.
Right. So boxing went through this. They had the Professional Boxing Safety Act, which became the Ali Act. And that's why boxers make that money. Don't let people lie to you and be like, it should be like MMA. It should absolutely not. MMA needs the Ali Act so our top stars can hit free agency without losing the thing. And the sanctioning body isn't the same guy who's supposedly promoting you, but he's really half like a manager. He's taking cuts, triple dipping, all this stuff. There are no firewalls in MMA, so it's messed up. The managers end up basically working for the promotions because they get their cut. Oh, we'll take less on this contract. You give us a little bump on this bigger fight with this other guy. We still get a bigger cut. They don't care. The Ali Act is awesome. So that's why Ngannou was a huge star and widely acknowledged as the top heavyweight mixed martial arts fighter in the world, is going to make more than he's made everything he's done. Just one touch into boxing, one touch into heavyweight high-level boxing. So it's a beautiful thing for MMA, even if the boxing fans are a little disappointed Fury's not fighting someone credible.
Yeah,
I give him if Ngannou's been training punching the body, I give him like a 1 in 50 chance. Because it is heavyweight. It's not like McGregor's 1 in a million against Floyd. It's like maybe a 1 in 50. Because he hits hard as hell. He's gonna have to have come a long way very quickly. So he's probably gonna get schooled. 1 in 50.
Maybe 1 in 50,000.
No, because it's heavyweight. So you move long once, you get dropped. You know what I mean? Yeah, it only takes one to the heavyweight, and he does hit hard. So he's not incompetent. It's not like he's never knocked men out with his hands. So, but it's 1 in 50. But 1 in 50 is a terrible chance. That's 2%. That's absolutely pathetic.
Yeah, who knows the mindset and what shape Fury's going to come in, because he's been doing a lot of, I don't know, crazy messing around here over the last several months, I would say. Just, hey, I'm going to fight this guy. I'm going to fight that guy. I'm retired. I'm the greatest ever. Blah, blah, blah. There's a bunch of antics from him.
Yeah, I mean, 1%. 1% of those 2% is thinking Fury's not been as active as he was when he was younger, but he should be able to completely handle him like it's a sparring session, although with full power. Like if he's going 80% pressure and power in sparring, that should be enough to get him out of there. But if he gets caught trying something silly, Ngannou does hit like a truck. It's not unfair to say that he has a puncher's chance, but a 1 in 50 puncher's chance is pathetic. It's a squash match, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and those guys are making tremendous amount of money. Boxing's where the money is at. That's why all the MMA champs want to do what Ngannou did. They would love to get that money. Remember all these guys calling Canelo out? They might not even be in his weight class or anywhere near it.
They weren't.
They want that payday, man. MMA is, the athletes do not make what they should. There's a lot of money in it, but the athletes are getting screwed. So boxing is still king. I don't care what anyone says. Boxing is king. And look, Spence Crawford,
they get some of that disparity corrected here in the near term in terms of just seeing how maybe some legislation or something can kind of help those guys get this more on an even playing field, and it's not as adversarial where Dana White and, of course, the powers that be alongside him have that much control over so much of what goes on there and the athletes and their future in the company. You know, if you have a falling out with them, they can basically treat you like you never existed.
Yeah, unfortunately, but you know, people are making some money, but not enough relative to what they go through. Just like in boxing, people used to be able to make some good money compared to normal jobs, but it's nothing like a normal job.
Yeah,
entry level pay is terrible. In fight sports in general, entry level pay is terrible. That's always just been the case, but the stars are getting screwed too, and you know, hopefully it'll change in the future. So this is like, if nothing else, this is a financial win for a former MMA champion who never really got those big boxing paydays. You know, in boxing, they'd be like, oh, this guy only made $1 million. Man, you'd be shocked how many of the top MMA fighters would love to have a guaranteed of $1 million. They would love that.
Yeah, that would be
different levels. There's huge money in MMA, but if you just talk about the athletes, you're better off boxing. If you're really good, if you're world class, be a boxer, because you can't get shafted and signed to a contract that never ends. And if you turn down a fight, they can freeze you for 3 or 4 months, and on and on and on, one-sided. It's really terrible, guys. I love the sport. I love mixed rules competition, but it's structurally it's a shit show. And boxing should not, as crap as boxing is structurally, it's far better. The athletes get the money. There's tons of corruption, undue influence, rankings buying, all this conflict of interest, managers who insist you call them their advisor. You know what I mean? All kinds of stuff, you know, to skirt the rules, but the boxers make more money. The top boxers make way more money. So otherwise you wouldn't have seen Tyron Woodley go in and get sparked in boxing. He had tons of money and you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, he was a pretty badass champion level fighter. And it's not like boxing where even if you only hold the belt a while and this and that, you know, some of these guys, they end up really broke. It's unfortunate, but it's just what it is right now.
Yeah, you know, I remember Dominic Cruz. He wanted to fight that Monster Energy guy because he exploits the MMA fighters, and he's one of the big UFC sponsors. I don't know if you recall, but I just remember some detailing surrounding that.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Monster sponsors more than just that. They sponsor Bellator. Yeah. I don't know if they currently do, but they've sponsored Bellator as well. Yeah, a lot of these sponsors would rather deal with the league than individual athletes.
Yeah.
But the fighters, they still doing Bellator, which is just somewhat lower profile. But the UFC took over, like, you know, no more banners, no more fighters selling space on their own shorts. You know, Floyd Mayweather, you know how he brags, like, that's $8 million right there. He's talking about patches on his short because he'll be in those photos and he'll just get so much exposure worldwide that, well, there's none of that in MMA. But guys used to make, some of these guys would actually make more money than their purse.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Because of the exposure. So now that's all gone. It just removes another incentive for athletes of a high caliber to other than ones who don't have a choice because of their skill set. But like, you know, cross sport guys, you know, you just don't get many going to MMA. They can dream about sports where the entry level at the top level, you know, when you hit the majors, now you're talking at least $1 million for a season. What do they pay? $600,000 or more to ride the bench for a season in the NFL? That's something to dream about. Like, if you just make it to the show, you get that money.
Like the practice squad type stuff. Those are situations. I think the veterans minimum is like $800,000 or $900,000 or something like that. So that's it's certainly levels to it. Real quick, shout out to Alexander Campbell in the mix. Appreciate you, Alexander Campbell. Always good chatting with you. Viva Ukraine, you know, we talk about that all the time. Says Benny Leonard versus Roberto Duran, lightweight matchup. Then Frazier versus Marciano, heavies. Ooh, those are some good ones.
Yo, I like both of those. I think we'll be doing both of those.
Oh yeah,
I like that. I second that emotion. Hey man,
yeah.
I'm about to go into work. I appreciate you having me on the Rant a While on your show. That was a cool interview, brother. And
I appreciate you, Random.
yeah, I'll reach out. We'll figure out when to do the next installment of the Prime versus Prime fantasy fights.
All right, good stuff, man. You have a good one, and everyone go check out Random Acoustic Thoughts at Random Acoustic Thoughts. Appreciate them dropping on in the mix. Shout out to my man Rodolfo Rivera Jr. in the building. Rodolfo Rivera Jr. Salute. Always appreciate having you in here, Rodolfo. Showing love. Dan says, I agree. John L. Sullivan was champion 12 years, fought about 500 fights, never lost, totally shot with age, alcoholism, etc. All-time great. Corbett still went 21 rounds. It's Sullivan time. Yep, that is true. That is true. Yeah, fan of going through the history of John L. Sullivan on the channel. You might have been able to tell. There's been a number of things that have been done on him. More to come, of course, because very intriguing man, very intriguing career. And yeah, a lot of instances make for a number of great videos. Yeah, very much movie worthy. I know there was mentioned that there is some movie of him that was made in some capacity a little bit back in the day. We need a 21st century John L. Sullivan movie. We need that, folks. We need that. But yeah, Sullivan, man, he fought, estimated over 500 fights. I mean, and that's no kidding right there. He would go on tour, travel across the country. They would disguise those exhibitions as fights as well. When you think exhibitions back then, especially with the gloves on, hey, you can turn an eye, you can make some things happen. You can exchange some real blows. If it got a little too out of hand, you know, the police would jump in and would step in and stop the fights, things of that nature. But those exhibitions were very much real fights. So true stuff right there, Dan. Flatbox says Sullivan was fined $500 of his $26,000 for a 75-round exhibition with Killen, last known fight in the U.S. to use the London prize ring bare knuckle fighting rules. Indeed, it was their flag boxing. Indeed, it was. They actually had to flee from there. Governor Lowry, who was the governor at the time, he had it out for Sullivan in a major way. This is one of the main reasons Sullivan did not want to fight bare knuckle, because they fought in Mississippi when he actually took on Patty Ryan in a bare knuckle contest, which staked his claim as the bare knuckle champion of America. In some sense, you could say bare knuckle champion of America. Some would argue world, but there was a back and forth, of course, from a media perspective. But that being said, this is true right here. Man, they had it out for him. Day of fight, you know, they had police lined up at a number of locations because the governor was interested in ensuring that this fight did not take place in Mississippi, and it did. It did. And so they had to dart out immediately after the contest, and they were eventually caught, all of them essentially, and a lot of legal ramifications. So Sullivan, in a sense, really didn't earn any of that money once or at least the majority of it was gone because of the legal issues that were tied to it. And just shows you the nature of the time. Matter of fact, when they got there to the secret location where they actually fought, we have the pictures. Pretty amazing to see. Amazing to see those pictures. There were police there or sheriff's groups, something of that nature. But, you know, you have to slide them a little bit of financial gain and they can let it go on, you know. That's the way it went down. That's how the exhibitions were able to be a lot more heavy-fisted than they probably should have been. Dan says, exactly, Flat George Foreman loves John O'Sullivan. Indeed he was. Flat boxing, Mike Donovan, one of Kilrain's trainer, told that he would die if they continued to let him fight. Nevertheless, Kilrain took his position to begin at 276, but could not continue. Yeah, crazy, insane. That is a true story right there. Mike Donovan also in the corner of James J. Corbett when he fought John O'Sullivan. Mike Donovan, very much an innovator in the sport of boxing. He did it bare knuckle, he did it gloves, but mostly bare knuckle. And just a true technician, scientific boxer. I actually have a video out there on him. I should do something a little bit bigger and that goes a little bit deeper. But Mike Donovan, if you don't know him, check him out. Professor Mike Donovan. There's also an Irish Mike Donovan who was a very solid contender from that period as well, or at least from a little bit after Professor Mike Donovan, but all in this same period. And he's one worth checking out for sure. But Professor Mike Donovan, check out the video. Check out the video. I call him the Floyd Mayweather of his time. That should have sparked some intrigue. But hey, he was really a true tactician in the sport. Mike Donovan helped to train a lot of individuals and get them ready on the scientific nature. And there is a video of him fighting at a little bit older age. It's on the channel as well, and you can see him from a technique perspective. I think he might have been around 60 or something like that. Matter of fact, he and Jim Mace had a contest. It'd be cool to have that. They were both older, post 50 or something of that nature. I don't think there was any film of it though, but would have been cool to have something. Then boxing always has been and always will be tops. I salute that. So does Flack, everyone else. That is why they make the most. Put it all on the line. For sure. Alex says John L. was a true Celtic warrior. Unfortunately, he had Celtic disposition towards whiskey, Scotch, and Irish both. It's a way off lift. Yeah. So, yeah, Sullivan certainly, when it came to that, he had his run-ins. He had the latter part of what should have been his prime, spent in a lot of turmoil, a lot of legal issues due to alcohol and some of the things that he would do when inebriated. Yeah, he got into a lot of tiffs, and he had the fans essentially at that point kind of had a love-hate relationship with him because, yeah, he was kind of off the rails a bit. But I agree with Dan in the earlier notion that, yeah, this version of Sullivan that fought James J. Corbett and went those 21 rounds was most certainly a far cry of the Sullivan he was. And, you know, we've seen that in other instances, even beyond sports. You know how that can be. Different type of humans, right, Flack, there. Never going to see a great boxer decide to go mix. Certainly Bob Foster versus Mike Spinks. Oh, yeah, tough call right there. Tough call. Both have their strong suits. We know Bob has that eraser. Man, that's a tough one right there. That's a good one, Dan. I don't know. That herky-jerky style of Spinks, you could see him box his way through, maybe even touch up Bob in a way to get him out of there. But you can also see Bob kind of by this time land one of those crackers, take him out. But, hey, that's a tough one. Might lean Spinks, but certainly a tough one right there. Drop a link for me and Flack, 86. Okay, gotcha. My bad. I didn't even see this until just now. Look, I'm going to drop that in there. Hey, there you go, folks. Come on in. Let's talk a little boxing. I dropped it in there for you, fellas. Let's talk a little boxing. So Dan says, Alex so true, Scottish Irish always have fun, great people. Yep. You know, interestingly enough, I got to kick it with some Irish. This was an Irish, it's either rugby or soccer team. I was in Finland. Shout out to Kelly. Appreciate her. And housed me and my spouse, and we were in Finland, but we went to an Irish bar. The Finnish team had played an Irish team. I want to say it was either rugby or soccer, but a part of me feels like it was rugby. I can't recall, but had a great time. It might have been soccer, actually, because we were watching the European, UEFA Championship game, and I believe this was the one when Real Madrid beat Liverpool. And, man, we had a good time. The Irish team, we were kicking it, just having a good time, talking, chatting, all that good stuff. So you're right. Fun, great people is indeed there. Oh, Rodolfo said that's Flack said it's all you today, Rodolfo. Flack, what's going on? Talk about John L. Let's do it. Let's talk about some John L. Sullivan. Then I met the Scottish mates, big guy, full of tattoo, but great guy. Started drinking in the morning. Friendly, yeah, good stuff right there. Elijah, hey, how's it going, Elijah? I think I'm saying that right, Elijah. Appreciate you dropping by for sure. Certainly appreciate you dropping by. Thanks for being here. Yeah, any time is worthy time well spent. Thank you for sure. Alexander says, anybody see the movie Gentleman Jim with Errol Flynn? Ward Bond played John L. I haven't seen that. Someone was mentioning that there, Alex. Maybe Dan, did you see that? No, I don't see where Dan put anything. But I know someone mentioned that. I wonder if it's on YouTube. I can't remember if they said it was on YouTube or whatever, but I know that there was mention of it, of that movie. I know I haven't seen it there, Alex. I take it you've seen it, Alex. What do you think? You know, I had to kind of get myself in the mood. I can watch old black and white fights, even with no sound and all of that stuff. Yeah, no problem. I don't care. I'll watch them. But I do have to get myself in the mood for one of those older movies. And, there a lot of them are good. Kind of had to get in the mood for it, though. I don't know. That's just me. Get in the mood for one of those old black and white movies. So, I want to see the Rocky Graziano movie. I've heard it's very, very good. Just got to get in the mood for it, Maybe that's the modern side of me, I guess you can say. Tyson says it's favorite movie, Alex. Okay, Dan, that's good stuff right there. Get a little nugget there, Dan. Hadn't seen it. Maybe I need to watch it. If Tyson loves it, then maybe I will. Dan said, Professor Donovan, awesome man, fought till about 70. His son was the great referee. His grandson is Art Donovan, all-pro Hall of Fame defensive tackle for Colts. Man, hey, didn't know that right there, Dan. Thanks for sharing. That's big time right there. That's a level of sports and sports history and connection across multiple sports right there. And at the high level right there, Hall of Famer in the NFL. That's pretty crazy. And his son was a referee. No, appreciate it, folks. Salute to Dan. I told you I always drop some good nuggets in these comments. Always enjoy checking out the stuff. Flat boxing at the DMV. Oh, that's a short trip right there. Flat boxing the DMV. You're in there quick and out. Sarcasm right there. Sarcasm. Dan says Spinks was awesome. One of the most underrated ever, but Foster with the extreme power. Bam, KO, I'm afraid. I'm glad Spinks didn't fight him. All right. I hear you there, Dan. I hear you. Yeah, that's a tough one right there. You're right. Foster has that elite level power to end things with the right punch at any given time. 1942, I believe. Yeah, I still have to get on that. Okay, 1942. Yeah, when that movie came out. Yeah, I'm with you there, Flack. Shout out to Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. He says, somebody up there like me. Yep, that's the Rocky Graziano movie. You've probably seen it, Bruce. I heard that it's Paul Newman. He did a great job in it from what I've heard. So I'm going to have to check it out. I have to set aside the time and just kind of check it out. Alexander Campbell, as an old man in hog fat, John KO'd Jack McCormick, knocked him cold. Yeah, I heard about that. Alexander. Yeah, that came what? Was it later in the 1890s? Or was it early 1900s? But I don't know all the details, but I heard that he did stop him and knock him out. And this was John, we know, far from the John of old. Look to Rodolfo Rivera Jr., who's dropped in. Appreciate you, Rodolfo. What's going on with your buddy?
I'm doing good. Just came drop by. I didn't come in early, but it's because I was hanging out with friends, and I saw you were live. I'm like, oh, shoot, I missed it. So I'm here now.
No, I appreciate it, Rodolfo. Hey, got to have that good time, that work-life balance, man. That's what matters out. So I appreciate you for being here in general. So, talking a little boxing history. Of course, did the interview with Orlando Hollywood. Hollis, salute Orlando Hollywood. Hollis once again. But, man, just talking a little history, a little John L. Sullivan. You know a little bit about him, Rodolfo?
Not that much, honestly. I just know that, of course, he was like the first heavyweight champion of the gloved era, but after that, not really that much. I just like heard him, of course, like in Jack Johnson stories, like him and Jack Johnson met one time.
Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah. He's very enigmatic figure in the sport of boxing, along with some others. But yeah, very interesting story. I wanted another one I want to do another video on is Mysterious Billy Smith. Very interesting story right there. Very interesting fighter, and would make for a crazy movie, book, and all of that stuff. I want to go on the conquest of doing a book of some type myself. At least I've talked about it and started something at points, but I know there's a lot of commitment and work that goes into it. But he's another one. I'm really fond of just some of his career stories. Just insane.
You're the first welterweight champion, right? Mysterious Billy Smith.
Yeah, Mysterious Billy Smith. Was he the first welterweight champion? Was he the first? I know he was one of the.
Or like I think it was like someone called his nickname was like the Napoleon of the Ring or something like that. He was also one of the first too.
Yeah. That was the first lightweight champion, Jack McCauley.
Mm-hmm. I
can't remember if Mysterious was the first. I feel like he wasn't the first, but I could be off. I feel like he wasn't the first though. I have to look that up. Lineage of welterweight. Who was the first welterweight champion? Might have been the. Yeah. I'm gonna have to look it up. I can't remember off top, but yeah, he was one of them, multi-time that is as well. Very interesting fighter. Real quick, Dan said, "I want to see Gentleman Jim." Tyson says, "Best movie ever." Okay, you haven't checked it out either, Dan? Yeah, we're gonna have to check that out. Alexander says, "I like Gentleman Jim. Flynn and Gentleman Jim and Flynn was great in the role. Almost too pretty." Good stuff right there. So they did a good job with the character selection and all of that stuff. I see. Flat said, "Yeah, I was just about to say, I don't know what you're talking about. I've been here for like 20 minutes already." Good stuff. Bruce said he's seen it somewhere up there. What is it again? Somebody up there like me. Seen it many times. Okay, good stuff right there, Bruce. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. I need to get on that level playing field, but having seen it at least once. Most famous referee ever, Donovan. I think Arthur. Yep, Arthur Donovan. A little bit of controversy surrounding Arthur Donovan too, right, Dan? If I recall correctly, a little controversy. Dan says Raging Bull is the movie everyone must see. You will never be the same. Yeah, that's what I need to see. Have you seen Raging Bull, Rodolfo?
I haven't seen it yet. No,
Okay.
That one, in the Clint Eastwood one, I have to see for sure.
Yeah, I need to see that one. It's a shame I haven't seen it. Robert De Niro going at it. I mean, they said he becomes the Raging Bull, so I do need to see that one. I know that's all black and white too, but it came out.
That's weird because it took place in 1980. No, the movie.
Yeah. I was about to say 70s. It came out like 70s or something like that, right? But it's the 80s, maybe even. But yeah, I guess they opted to do it in black and white just for kind of keeping the tone and feel of what it would have been like there in the time.
Yeah.
Or at least if you were watching it in the time from a viewing perspective. So maybe that's kind of idea behind it. They'll occasionally do some black and white films. You don't see them as often these days, but you do see them. I know there was one a few years back, maybe even more than a few years. There's this guy, he's considered a funny guy. He got an Oscar, or at least it was nominated because of this movie that he did, but it was all in black and white. So, I like to see black and white films or movies, or even boxing, not even movies, but more sports stuff. Like, I love it when they make them color and they end up becoming a part of some of the, or you get to see them from at least the viewing perspective of what it would have been like to see them watching them in color. Hold up. My man, Bruce Gas. What's going on, Bruce Gas? Bruce. Never had you on. Appreciate you coming in here, Bruce. Salute to your brother.
Good evening, my brothers. Rodolfo, how are you, my man?
I'm doing good, Bruce. How about you?
Not too bad, bro. And boxing movies, excellent topic, bro. There's been some great ones out there, man.
Yeah. Let us know. I know you. I know you've seen probably a ton of them there. Bruce, I've been seeing, and I said before that I really like the Hands of Stone movie that they did on Roberto Duran. I feel like the casting was right, and I feel like it was a very good story, and it kept my attention throughout. And my girlfriend as well, who had watched it with me, she really liked it as well.
Definitely. I forgot about that one for a second, man. I just saw one recently, man. The big George Foreman movie. I like.
Oh
yeah. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I need to watch it. As a matter of fact, I need to watch that ASAP. I know that I can rent it. Yeah, one of the referees up here. Shout out to Jose Flora. He referees up here in DC, and he was in it. He was the referee. He played referee Zach
Clayton.
Zach Clayton. So he played him in the Ali Foreman fight, the Rumble in the Jungle fight. So he's playing that referee in the movie. So I'm like, I need to go see it. He said it was a great time and all that stuff. So I wanted to get him on here to talk about that experience and all that. But man, historic stuff. I do need to see that. I'm gonna probably try to watch it this weekend because I have been saying I'm gonna say it.
Alexander Campbell, Anthony Quinn, bro. Anthony Quinn lived in my town. I met him several times. In fact, he's buried in my town. The house that he bought, it's at this place called Colt State Park. It's one of the oldest state parks in the country. Samuel Colt donated it to the state. Anthony Quinn bought a place there, and he was doing his painting, and he did a lot of singing. He liked to play the piano and sing, and he lived his life out there, bro, in this small town. And I was getting a haircut in this barber shop one day, and he comes in. And I'm like, whoa. And he married a young girl. He's like 75 years old. He married some girl in her 30s, had a kid, and the kid was spoiled. The kid grabbed the broom and he's sweeping all the hair in the barber shop. And Anthony, he goes in his wallet. He says, hey, you want to go get a coffee next door so it doesn't bother you? And I'm like, no, man, this is, I like watching this. So anyway, I talked to him a little bit. I told him Requiem for a Heavyweight. That's my movie, bro. And, he wasn't, gregarious, but he was, oh, cool, man, cool. And, he was quite the sight to see. Probably the one of them. Well, I met a lot of kind of famous people in boxing, but he's up there as far as the celebrities go, man. Oscar winning and everything. But yeah, great movie. The Jim Braddock story. I forget what the name of that one was.
Cinderella Man.
Cinderella Man. Yeah, that was a good movie too, bro. The Will Smith. The Will Smith Ali movie, I enjoyed the hell out of that one too.
Oh yeah, I did see that one. That was a good one right there. That was a good one. I just saw Cinderella Man like last year. For the longest, I had never seen it. And I've read the book, and the book was great too. The book was great. But yeah, seeing the movie, it was cool too, just to kind of see it. I thought they did a good job with casting as well in that one. I know there's always been this thing, the portrayal of Max Baer. He was more of a jovial type guy for sure. But I thought it was well done in terms of just the overall look and feel of the movie for sure. I haven't seen Requiem for a Heavyweight. I knew of the name, man. That's what I got to check out right there. I know I've seen that name before, and I was just looking up because I was trying to see who it was based on, and I see it's talking about like a little punch drunk syndrome.
Oh yeah. It's about an old heavyweight boxer. In fact, it starts off where his last fight was against Cassius Clay, and he gets peppered and stopped, and they're in the dressing room, and you got to retire. His name was Montana. Oh fuck, man. Sometimes on here my names slip me, but
yeah.
But he's told to retire, and he ended up trying to, he's got a girlfriend, and he's trying to find legitimate jobs, and he was real slow in the voice, a little slurring. He couldn't get a job in an office or anything else, and just a cool movie. At the end, really tragic ending, man. He reversed to professional wrestling, and it shows him in the ring. He's an Indian. He's an actual like a Yaki Lopez. Indian.
Okay.
And he's got the headdress on, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
Like he didn't want to do it, but
okay.
I mean, it'll make your eyes moist. It's one of those kind of movies.
No, wow, yeah, I had to check that out then. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah. You know, it's always sad to see something go out like that. You know, and that's why I appreciate Bruce when you're on your channel over there, and everyone subscribe to Bruce.
Not Don, it's Mountain Rivera. I see.
Okay.
These things in my head. You said Mountain Montoya. It's Mountain Rivera. Not now. Yeah, things come back to me in a second, but when I try to get those names, it's like, damn. It's one of these sad things of going old, bro.
Oh yeah. No. You're good, Bruce. Hey, you're always on it. You're rattling off this stuff left and right. You're rattling it out left and right. But no, I appreciate
I blame it on the Green Dragon tincture. You know, that's what it's
No, good to go. But no, I appreciate it. I like the fact, Bruce, you're always showing love to these boxers of the past, and especially some of these guys who fought in the war. And, you know, I found out so much through just watching your channel because, you know, I'm looking at stuff with these individuals from like way back there, like late 1800s and early 1900s. But when I come on your channel, I learned so much about a lot of these boxers, these warriors who were fighting like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, 90s, all that good stuff. Like I hadn't. Who was it? I was telling you, I know when I came on last week, I hadn't seen Danny Lopez in action. I knew of him from a name perspective, and just to see that fight with Mike Ayala, I mean, a war right there. Those two guys go and get it. So you're always showing love to those guys. You know, some of them going through some things, but hey, they put on a lot of great competition and they were involved in a lot of wars in the sport.
Yeah, well, we got to keep this generation aware of what happened in the past, bro. I mean, today's the anniversary of the death of Pernell Whitaker.
Oh wow, yeah, because that was not too long ago.
Only 4 years ago. But,
that was pretty great. I remember, that was a shocker right there, especially the circumstances and everything. Kind of just came out of nowhere all of a sudden.
And what a great fighter, man! What a pleasure to watch him in action, man. You know, watching guys like Greg Hauger chase him around the ring, watching guys, even beating classic boxers like Freddie Pendleton, out slicking them.
Oh yeah. Freddie Pendleton.
Oh man, he was just so slick, and he even had some power too. I saw him fight a undefeated Chicago named Louis Lamelli, who was a dollar of CBS of NBC Sports World for a while, and he went to Norfolk into the dome in Norfolk, and Whitaker knocked him out in the third round, and it was like, whoa, where did this power come from? And then those great fights with Julio Cesar Chavez.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the Buddy McGirt fights. I mean, he was just an incredible fighter. And today, you know, just a sad thing. It brings back the memories, kind of bittersweet. He was in his early 50s, crossing a highway by a pickup truck, and dude, you know. Yeah. That's pretty sad because I know a lot of people are talking about and affected by it up here where I'm at, because I'm in DC, and with him being from Virginia, and, you know, a lot of these same people, you know, came up together and all that stuff because, you know, box with DC, Maryland, Virginia, they all box together, varying competitions, all that stuff, you know. I wouldn't know what the scope was if not for Pernell Whitaker boxing there. You know, everybody mentions in Virginia. Oh yeah, that's the home of Pernell Whitaker. And, Danny Lopez, man, what a fighter he was.
Oh yeah. He was, man. Seeing that absolute war though with Mike Ayala, and then on Pernell Whitaker, it's pretty cool that you even ask some of these young boxers today. A lot of them, they bring up the name Pernell Whitaker in terms of those they look back at. They could just kind of see that brilliance of him in the ring, especially on the defensive side. Even though he was excellent offensively too when he needed to be, but on that defensive side, you know, just brilliance.
Yeah. You're not going to hit Pernell Whitaker unless he's having a real off night. And I mean, just his talent alone, late in his career, and he was doing coke. He admitted it. He was fucking. Yeah. He was right going to some of his fights when he was fighting the Oscar De La Hoya.
Oh yeah.
You know, Felix Trinidad, where he had he had no business in those fights, but he was slick enough to stay out of harm's way and take him the decision. In fact, Oscar, I even thought, he had Oscar in a world of fits in that fight in some of the rounds. But,
Yeah.
It's one of those things that guys like me, because I lived through that, I can remember that, and I can put that down on, make a little a community page on it, because it's all from the memory. It's all from the heart. I saw this happen, and it's kind of our job, and yours too, man. We gotta teach this generation about what they missed, and don't let it slide, bro. Don't let this stuff sink into the
yeah, without a doubt. Hey, Rodolfo Rivera, he's one of those young fans into the history of the sport. He's one of those youngsters, only about 19 or 20 or something like that. But that being said, he loves to dig into the history of the sport because, sometimes some of the younger individuals, they can't see past, just the people that they've seen or whatever. So they don't know about a lot of these older fighters. And if you say, who's the greatest, they don't only think about someone they had saw just in recent times or something of that nature. But there have been a lot of great fighters over the years.
For sure, bro. Yeah, Rodolfo, I catch him all the time on Trey X and on Mario on
Marlo's Corner.
Marlo's Corner, yeah, and those trivias. And bro, I'm like, this guy's got to have a freaking Google Watch or something, because he's making these things so damn fast. But he's definitely got the boxing brain in between those two ears, bro.
Yeah, and he's out on the West Coast, so he can stay up later than we can, over on the East Coast.
yeah, but he can't get up as early as us, though.
That's true. That is true.
Hey, next week, bro, we're gonna have to get up early over here for Anoe and Fulton, bro. That's like
that's the big one.
Oh yeah,
that's back in the Marine Corps,
What do you think of that fight, Bruce? Who do you like in that contest? It's pretty much an even matchup. Both of them have some strong suits in their favor and all that stuff, and really, really good fight. And I hope people tune in, especially the replay, maybe, because I know it's going to be early. But what are your thoughts on that fight, Bruce?
50-50 fight. I want to see if Monster Noe can bring it up to the up another weight class. I mean, the dude is just incredible. He knocks out everybody. Stephen Fulton, tough, gritty, undefeated featherweight from Philadelphia, man. How can you not love that, going into enemy territory because they told him, you want to fight in America, you make $1 million. You want to go to Japan, you make $4 million. It's like, duh.
Yeah, right.
Man, So
yeah, that atmosphere is gonna be live for sure. Yeah, you gotta love it. Especially seeing a guy willing to go on the road for it. He's like, hey, I trust in my abilities and what I'm able to do. And yeah, I think it is gonna be a pretty evenly fought matchup. And Fulton is a little bit bigger, and man, I just think stylistically it should turn out to be something pretty special.
Monster Noe, he hasn't fought a slick black fighter that I can name off the top of my head. This is going to be a first for him. Fulton is slick. I mean, this is a great match. And Monster Noe, he's been annihilating everybody. Dude, what he did to
yeah.
Nito. He earns that nickname, Monster. He deserves that nickname.
Oh yeah, certainly is a monster in there. But you're right. Yeah, this will be a sort of new style for him to deal with, and then especially factoring in the size there with Stephen Fulton, who I think showed that he can certainly box with Brandon Figueroa, who was this like high-paced guy who's tough and likes to fight in the trenches. But Fulton was able to do what he needed to do to find that spot that worked for him in that contest. So I think he's very much alive out. Like I said, a lot of this is a 50-50 one right there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What do you think, Rodolfo?
I think this is gonna be a crazy fight because Stephen Fulton, he can fight. Like, I've seen a lot of footage about him, and Noe has never seen anything like that, honestly. So I wouldn't be surprised if Noe loses. I think Fulton could pull it off for sure.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Dan mentions The Harder They Fall, starring Humphrey Bogart, Max Baer, and Jersey Joe. Now I didn't know Jersey Joe was in that. Actually, I haven't seen it, but I have this Max Bear book I've been reading on him, but I didn't know Jersey Joe was in there. That's pretty awesome. I don't know if you've seen that, Bruce, but yeah, I remember that movie, The Harder They Fall.
Long time ago. I'll have to watch that one again when I have some time to kill, because we got the internet now. All those movies are right at our fingertips.
Yeah.
And even that new George Foreman movie, you can go to movies for you. I mean, it's right out there. So boxing fans, you don't have to miss any of that shit. And you watch that. That's increasing your boxing IQ by a point. You watch those classic movies. You can compare guys like the Boxing Historian and Scrapbook when they talk about them. And I mean that.
Yep.
And it's right there. There's no excuse. Any boxing fan has got to check out those movies. The Harder They Fall. They gotta check out Requiem for a Heavyweight, Raging Bull. I mean, even the Rocky series, bro.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's classic stuff. You know how many future champions they watched Rocky and they decided to start running and go to the gym and start boxing, guys like Vinny Paz and many. So shout out to those movies, man. Those movies are great way to kill some time when you've seen all the good live stuff like Josh and Rodolfo and myself on here, and you watched enough classic fights, then you want to sit down with the old lady and watch a movie. Find one of those good classic boxing movies.
Yeah. That is a good way. Putting some game on there. You hear that, Rodolfo? A little game you can use out there. It's a little game for you. Throw in one of those classics.
make up a nice big pan of popcorn. Maybe get a bottle of Chablis. Set the atmosphere right. And you're right there into that shit. even the Vinny Paz movie. Speaking of him, man.
Oh yeah.
I bled for this. Entertaining as hell, man.
I need to see that.
Yeah, it's not Gone with the Wind, but bro, this is something we can relate to. And plus, I know Paz. He's really high on that movie. Every time you talk to him, you mention, oh, wasn't that's an Oscar movie? That's a great movie. It's like yes, sure, bro.
Okay, I want to see that one. It looked well put together, from seeing the trailers and all that stuff, and it is a pretty amazing story. So I definitely want to see that. I mentioned as well, Bruce. I've mentioned this before. I know. Yeah, I got a buddy. He's an official, Joe Casano, and he's in Connecticut. He's in actually Hartford, Connecticut, or at least that's where he's from. So I think he's in Hartford. But I had met him at the Hall of Fame in Canastota, New York, or whatever. But this was a number back in like 2015, and essentially we stayed in contact. But I saw that he is in a Willie Pep movie that had been recording, and it's, I guess you can say, essentially on the way at some point. I had pulled up the picture there. They did a good job of casting. The guy they casted did look like Willie Pep. So I'd imagine at some time here, I don't know exactly when, that movie should be coming out. And I think that'll be a good one, because that's another pretty amazing story right there, Willie Pep, because he was in some kind of accident or something of that nature as well.
Plane crash.
Okay.
Plane crash.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy. And to survive that and then come back boxing, because I know they said that they didn't think he would box again.
Unbelievable the hops that some of these fighters have, man.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. Dan says Raging Bull is a real history lesson. Yeah, I need to see that. I mean, I don't know why I haven't seen the Raging Bull yet.
Damn. You gotta see Raging Bull, man.
I know. I'm gonna see that. I need to see it. I need to watch all these ASAP. As a matter of fact, the Raging Bull.
It was filmed in black and white, and was it Scorsese? Was he the director of the movie? I think he just said keep it in black and white. It's got that real gritty feel. I think I saw that. I think that's one of the last movies really that I saw in a movie theater.
Oh, okay.
Way back in the mid '70s, I believe that movie came out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. I don't remember '70s or '80s, but it was in black and white, and definitely, you would expect to be laughing and stuff at it, but man, very, very gritty, very, very down home. Showed you the real style, Jake LaMotta. I mean, crazy bastard. Beat up his brother. Used to slap his wife around. Real asshole at times, but in the ring, man, he was the raging bull. He just different man.
Yeah, tough, and and he was a very good boxer as well. Even though he's one of those guys him for being tough and he could take shots and all this stuff, but he was pretty solid in the ring from a skills perspective as well. So that is a very interesting one. I want to see. I got to watch that one ASAP right there for sure. Flack says, cartoon mentioning Maxie Rosenblum. Okay, cool. Flack Boxing mentioned there's a Japanese cartoon that has no relation to boxing that actually mentions Maxie Rosenblum and his lack of KO power. That's pretty funny right there. Maxie Rosenblum. Hey, good to see him getting some shine. I know he did a lot of movies as well in terms of just post-career or something of that nature. I haven't seen them all, but man, some good stuff out there. You're right. We have access to it, Bruce.
Didn't he do it? Wasn't he like a comedy team with Max Baer and Slapping Maxie Rosenblum? Didn't they go on tour, like do vaudeville or something like that?
Oh, they might have been. They might have, because I know that Baer did do a lot of that stuff outside of the ring. I remember, just from reading the book that I have on him, and I haven't gotten through everything in it yet. I know that he was also, one of those who took advantage of like all those opportunities that came about outside the ring. Hosting a radio show or being a part of a radio type series they did. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case right there. That's pretty amazing though. So,
what do you guys' favorite Rocky movie? If you had to choose one.
Favorite Rocky? Probably maybe the first one, or the one with Clubber Lang. What was that? 3?
The third one.
Okay. Yeah, that was good. But Ivan Drago, man, he was such a good character too. The first 3, I would say.
I'll tell you, they were all definitely entertaining in their own right. But like 1 and 2, that I watched those back to back. That could be like one long movie. That's the whole story right there. Then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There was none of them that I would say sucked. I would say Rocky 3 was kind of the most, with Tommy Gunn. I wasn't crazy about that one, but then man, it was entertaining, and I must have watched it at least a half dozen times.
Yeah. That's not bad. What about you, Rodolfo? Do you like?
I think the second one, because like he has a kid, and it just gives him more motivation. It's like it's cool,
Yeah, no, not bad. Yeah, I guess you're right, and that's it. Bruce, have you seen the Creed movies?
Oh yeah, I've seen them all, bro.
I haven't seen the last Creed.
The last one, I was watching it, and I wasn't getting a real good picture on my stream of it, but it was just so cliche. I watched it again, and I said, dude, this is you know exactly what's going to happen. You can almost verbatim, word for word. You can after seeing it once, you can pretty much go along with the script. Just very too basic, man. I like Creed 1. Creed 1. Was it Creed 1 and 2? Did they make 3 Creed movies or 2?
Yeah, there are 3. There are 3. So yeah.
The first 2, I dug them, man. I liked that when Rocky had the leukemia, and they were real cool. But Creed 3, I didn't like that one at all, man.
Okay, yeah, that's the latest one. I haven't seen that one. I remember they were doing a lot of promo on it. It would be interesting to see, how it continues forward. To kind of generate that same Rocky buzz, or at least since it's kind of a spin-off of such. So that is pretty cool. Now, Dan said they said Pep would never walk again. A month later, back in the ring. That's insane. Fought 20 more years. Insane. Flack Boxing says LaMotta gets a lot of praise for being able to take punishment, but he had a very underrated defense. He could slip shots and use it to continue his ongoing pressure. No doubt. Yeah, you could tell he was pretty skilled in there. He's very, very skilled. I think that speaks big time of him. But we do know him as that sort of tough guy, but certainly. And then Max says Maxie Slapsy was acting the punchy fighter. Turns out he wasn't acting. Interesting. Yeah, old Max Baer. We don't have any films of or Slapsy Max. If we don't have any films of him fighting, it would be cool to actually have some. Since he's fought so many fights, But that being said, we know he was in there with some of the best ever on numerous occasions.
I'll tell you, speaking of boxing stories today, I had to bring my dog to the vet. He's got a little thing on his neck, some kind of like a dry skin patch. Anyway, I got him in there. And my vet, I had this guy since I was like 17 years old. This guy's 84 years old.
Cool.
Today he looked at me, and he had some kid working with him, and he asked me what I was doing since I retired, and I says, "Oh man, I got a love for boxing." And I said, "Now that I found the internet, I found YouTube boxing channels. I get on here and I talk about and he starts going, yeah, you talk about like Rocky Marciano." I said, "Oh yeah." He says, I saw Rocky Marciano at the Providence Civic Center, Around Auditorium." And he said, and this guy beat the shit out of him, and they still raised Rocky's hand. I said, "That was Tiger Ted Lowry, bro. I know that."
Oh, wow.
And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, because his dad was a farmer, and he goes, "Yeah, the farmers. We all went up there." And the young kid who was in there with him, he's asking me about Ryan Garcia, and he's talking current. And I said, "Oh yeah, dude." And and then when I left, he comes running out to the car. I thought maybe I left some money or something on it. He says, "Oh, what's your YouTube channel? I'll sub to it right now because I dig YouTube, bro." And he subbed to me right there. He's talking about current boxing. The vet's talking about Marciano and Jersey Joe Walcott. I'm like, bro, this is like fucking. This is a real good place to be. I got 2 more subs on the channel, and I bet you it was the vet, Dr. Mello, and Marco, his assistant. Cool ass shit, man.
Oh yeah, that's pretty awesome right there. That's crazy. Yeah, it is. Boxing can connect you. It's kind of a small world, but that's crazy. So he was there at that fight with Marciano. That's insane. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I, like I said, I've known this guy since I was 17. He's been in that. He actually retired when he was 70, but he said, "Fuck it, I'm going back to work." He owns the hospital. He must have a dozen different vets working for him there. He sees a very select few, but he's been seeing me for Christ 50 years, so he still sees me. But today, and usually he's a pretty dry guy. He doesn't really crack. I mean, it probably took 20 years before I got him to laugh at a joke or stuff. But today he was just real warm, talking about boxing. He remembered when he realized that I knew more about that fight that he saw than he did. He really warmed up. He's like, "Oh yeah, man, nothing like the boxing today. I don't know what's going on today, man. They got to weigh a certain weight, and they got to And I start talking about the hydration and the catch weights, and he's like, "Oh, that stuff drives me fucking crazy." And it was like so cool to connect with just somebody, and it's all boxing was the that was the thing that drew us there. That was the focal point was boxing.
Oh yeah, most certainly. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That is a pretty awesome story right there, Bruce. Hey, that's what I've been saying, folks. Bruce needs to write a book. You got some stories for days there, Bruce. Talking about running your shop and all that stuff back in the day. Yeah, I love hearing those stories, man. It's cool stuff. I know you've been around the sport for a good long while, so it's pretty cool.
I've been watching boxing since the 70s, since the late 60s and the 70s. I fell in love with it in the late 70s through the 80s and 90s, where it was my baby. All I would do was buy magazines, watch boxing, talk boxing, and then I got into my business and things like that. I had to lay off a little bit, but since I retired, man,
Oh yeah.
Fuck the NBA, fuck the NFL, fuck Major League Baseball. I don't want to hear that. MMA, nah, that's not me. Boxing. If I can't see live boxing, I go back in history and watch some of the great fights that I missed. I'll listen to guys like Scrapbook and BL and you.
Yeah.
And just a whole new love affair with boxing.
Oh yeah, most certainly. Yeah. Those guys, put out a crazy amount of content that is focused on the history. So yeah, I'm with you too. I find myself going back and watching some of those old fights. Boxing, it probably has the best replay value of any sport. It's just like you can see one you've seen a million times, and you still kind of get that same feeling, the little goosebumps standing up even though you know what's coming.
Oh yeah.
What type of business did he own, Bruce?
I've owned several businesses in my life, but I've owned a draft beer cleanings business. Where I used to travel from establishment to establishment and sanitize the draft beer systems. I owned a restaurant for a while.
Oh wow.
See, when I owned my restaurant, I could see I was getting people fatter and fatter and
Uh-huh.
more unhealthy, and so I became
I'm
more
on
involved.
that thing talking.
I became involved in fitness and nutrition,
Yes.
and I changed my life around. I became a certified nutritional advisor. I became a personal trainer, and what I ended up doing was I bought a nutritional supplement business with a gym included, and I did that for about 15 years. I was a nut about that too. I got a lot of people in the best shape they were in, including myself. In fact, this is.
With the Bruce there. Yeah. I was thinking about that fitness business you had, Bruce. Look at him, Bruce there, y'all. Look at him in there. Mean Machine.
That was me back in the early 2000s.
Oh wow.
Mean Machine right there.
Yep.
Jack.
And I did that for 15 years, and but I keep doing that now. I live by that. I try to eat healthy. I tell other people the importance of nutrition. I've actually helped several boxers get their diets in order, and I mean it's a lifelong thing. If I'm 68 years old, I want to be around like the vet. I want to be working when I'm 84. And you just can't eat what I used to eat when I was a kid, man. I can't do fast food. I can't do Big Macs and fries and stuff like that. I have to keep it clean. Keep it clean. A lot of green, a lot of water. I mean, it's a whole different thing. But that was my life. That was what I made money doing. I sold nutritional supplements, and I was big on the I was there in the mid '90s when they made that stuff legal. Before that, it was all. You had to buy it through medical houses, and I mean even things like creatine and glutamine, amino acids. You couldn't just go to the corner GNC and get that because there was no GNCs. You had to know a pharmacist, and he had to order it special for you. But I was around in the boom of that, the beginning of that, and I made a lot of money because it was like I had a shop and people were driving 50 miles just to see me and to buy the protein powder because you couldn't. Wow. Now you can get it online. But back then it was a commodity, and plus I had the knowledge to tell people how to use it. So it was a booming thing. I made a lot of money doing that. But as soon as the internet took over, it put guys like me, brick and mortar operations, right out of business. We couldn't compete with that as far as the wholesale stuff concerned. So I still had my gym. I still did personal training, but it wasn't as lucrative. So I don't even know what we were talking about, but that's what I did. That's what I retired as a retail store owner, and I'm not certified anymore as a nutritional advisor or as a dietary technician, but I'm sure it would only take a matter of a couple of tests and a couple of $100 to get me certified for that if I ever wanted to again. But I do it now because it's absolutely needed, especially in our community, man. The more people are getting older and older, taking less and less care of themselves. I'm seeing guys half my age having strokes, diabetes, and it's like, man, you gotta get that shit together. There we go, Don. You got it right, bro. What do you eat? You need to clean it up, man. Well, first of all, stay away from things that are preserved, because everything that you put in your body that has preservatives in it, your body has to take those preservatives out to get down to. There's only three basic things you can eat, bro: protein, fats, and carbohydrates. Keep them clean, keep them simple. Your protein, make sure it's not laden with fat. Make sure there's not a lot of gravies and things like that. Saturated fats. Things that it's common sense. Greens help big time. You got to get that. You got to get the roughage in there. You got to make sure the digestive system's got a lot of the good healthy fibrous carbs to keep it flowing smoothly. And as far as fats go, bro, there's good fats. There's avocados. There's essential fatty acids. You can find out what those are. You can get some really good fats eating salmon. There's many things you can eat, but there's a ton of things to stay away from. So a little bit of research, and if you want any help in it, bro, you can come over to my site, Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and More. drop your email address off, leave any specific question, and I'll help you out, bro. And this is what I do, and I do it because I get a pleasure. I get a pleasure by doing it. Helping other people. It's a big circle, man. It all comes back.
Good stuff right there. See, hey, that's what I'm telling you, folks. Bruce is always dropping a wealth of knowledge. I appreciate it without a doubt, Bruce, because man, it's just always great getting these varying nuggets from you. And hey, I'm all for it. Giving more people the opportunity to be able to check you out. Be able to check you out. I'm gonna drop it in the chat. As a matter of fact, your channel, so everyone can know, get straight to them. Let me see here: Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. I'm copying this over here, so I'm gonna drop it in there, Bruce. I definitely appreciate you always sharing that knowledge. See, hey, that's what it's about right there. This dialogue, building bridges, sharing knowledge.
My take on a double cheeseburger, I think they're dynamite. As long as you limit them to your cheat day, have maybe once a week. But nothing wrong with it, man. But just use high quality beef. Go for the 90% lean. Try to get a bun that's a whole grain bun. And if you can see, personally, I stay away from dairy, so I use fat-free cheese. And bro, you've got carbohydrates. You use the 90% lean. You're gonna have very low fat in there. You're gonna have quality protein. So you can make a double cheeseburger. It's not going to kill you. Now you go to McDonald's and ask for a double cheeseburger. You better take some health insurance out before you eat that. And make sure there's a bathroom within 100 yards of your destination. You know what I'm saying, man? And so it's not what you eat. It's how it's prepared and how it's prepared. What the ingredients are. Because believe me, I had a restaurant for several years, and I can make very healthful, very nutritious, very, very high quality, low fat meals that you wouldn't believe they're good for you. Like I can take turkey breast, make a cutlet out of that, almost make it like a Parmesan style, get some whole wheat pasta, make a marinara sauce that's all clean without any preservatives or a low amounts of saturated fats in there. And bro, I mean, I've got that talent where I can make appealing food that's healthy, and with a little bit of practice, anybody can do that, man. The internet's got a lot of sites that'll show you how to make good things that are good for you, because we all have to eat. But you start eating crappy food, your body is going to reject it. I see so many instances, like I said, man, people that are younger than me, and some of them aren't even around now, bro. They're not even with us anymore, and it's primarily because I'm like a Columbo, man. When I see somebody's in bad shape, I try to get to the root of the matter. And if it's not a cancer or something like a disease, it usually involves their diet. It's usually the digestive system, the blood pressure, the things like that. The ACIs are high, and you can control all that with a diet, man.
That is good stuff right there. That is good to know there, Bruce. I think that's pretty amazing, but you're right. Yeah, it's always one of those things, talking about the working out aspect and doing all that, but that diet is probably one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, in terms of starting on that journey to a healthy and clean body and life and living, just thinking of it from that perspective. That's pretty awesome right there, Bruce. I didn't even know. Yeah, you have all of that stuff down. That's some good nuggets right there. I'm gonna have to replay this and take some of that down from a notes perspective.
Oh, bro, I should throw my before picture up there. I was 235 pounds with about I'm gonna say a 30% body fat. And I had the warnings. I was in my 30s. I couldn't walk a mile, never mind run a mile. I called somebody up for a ride to the corner store, and because that's the way the environment is. We get lazier and lazier, eat the shittiest things. I go to the gas station and buy some microwave cheeseburgers, and that would be dinner. Wash it down with a 6-pack of Budweiser. So I really had to step back and evaluate what I was putting into my body to realize the damage I was doing to it and what was happening to it. And when I did that, it took a while, but it's small gradual changes. You're not gonna just switch the light and all of a sudden you're eating a perfect diet. but you see little things in there, like you'll see the gravy that you're putting on your mashed potatoes, or the butter you say, let me eliminate from my diet, and clean up the medicine cabinet a little bit. The white bread, put that away. The granulated sugar, say no to that. Just do alternate things instead of putting a lot of salt on the food. Try squeezing lemon on there. Try some fresh ground pepper. Things that are going to fuck with the blood pressure, and they're not going to make the digestive system sluggish. So there's, it's a science, but it's not an exact science. Different things work for different people, and it really is a hit and miss kind of a thing. But that's cool because you're not going to do any serious damage by eliminating something and adding something. And you find a diet that suits you. Me, I find if I have 5 meals throughout the day, 5 small meals, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm never hungry, which, a sign of hunger, that means your blood sugar will be going a little bit low. So, at my age, I want to watch things like that. So it stabilizes the blood sugar. I never gouge myself, so I don't have to worry about burning the meal that I put in. Like, you eat a big meal, you get real tired, your metabolism slows down. It's almost you eat small frequent meals, your body's expecting to be fed in another 4 hours, so it assimilates the food that you gave it. And, the body's a smart thing, it adapts. So it all depends on how you feed it, and it gets into the habit of digesting the food that you gave it, so you're ready for another meal in 4 hours. And I do that like 4 times a day, maybe 5 times a day. And some of those meals, maybe 2 of those meals will be liquid meals. I'm big on whey protein, and I'll throw some yogurt in the whey protein for digestive enzymes, and bang, I'll drop that down in about 10 seconds, and that's a meal. It's got carbohydrates, it's got proteins, and it's got fats, and it's all healthy ratios. So it signals your body that it's not starving, because when your body senses that it's being starved, it's not going to give up the fat. It's going to retain it, But if it knows it's going to be fed every 4 hours, it has no need to retain it. And then your body doesn't want to keep fat. It keeps fat simply to keep you alive. And if there's going to be a famine, if it's going to be a starvation, things like that. But that's not going to happen anymore, I hope.
Yeah.
We can speak. But yeah, it's there's a little bit of science involved in it. I've taken several courses to get certified, so it's something that's been studied a lot. I've talked to a lot of PhDs and MDs about it. So there's a lot to it. And hey, I hope it's keeping me and my wife around a few years longer to enjoy this ride. And it's not only the life; it's the quality of life. When you're not weighed down with that massive weight, you don't have the knee problems, the stress on the joints. You become more active, move around. I walk several miles every day because I don't want to run, because I'm like I said, I'm 68, and I tore a meniscus in my knee one time. I don't want to do that again. So I just walk now, bro. I don't mind, I see joggers all over the place. Me and my dog, we just walk. We get that 2 miles in twice a day, and eat clean, drink a lot of water. Make sure I come over to 86 and get educated on some good boxing. And hey, welcome to my world.
Funny. That's good stuff right there, Bruce. Man, definitely some great stuff. Great nuggets being shared right there. I truly appreciate it. For sure, man. That's why I say, hey, it's always great talking to you. You've been around the block a few times. You always have great stories to share. Salute to Beagle, who dropped in. Salute to the Boz, Slaven Ajanovic, who dropped in as well, who's here in the mix, getting some of that wisdom from Bruce. And man, that's good stuff right there, Bruce. Good stuff. I do appreciate you sharing that, folks. Nuggets, gems.
What workouts do I do? Well, I'll tell you, man, when I was training heavily, I was training with power lifters. I was doing bench pressing, squats, and deadlifts. Did a lot of that. Plus, I would work with bodybuilders. We do shoulder work, shoulder presses, back work, do rows, bent over rows. I have arthritis now. This is one of the reasons that I'm retired, man. I have really, really bad arthritis. I'm in chronic pain, so I can't train like I used to train. All I do now, I have a set of dumbbells. They go up to 30 pounds each. I do arm curls. I do bent over rows. I do things I can get away with, but I can't bench because the shoulders are pretty much one of your main stress points in bench pressing. The shoulders
Mm-hmm.
pretty much control all upper body movements. So my workout is real pussy right now. It's not what I'd like it to be. I have an appointment with my orthopedic surgeon on the 20th. If there's anything shy of a total shoulder replacement, I'm going to go for it. So I'll be back. I'll be doing physical therapy first, but I'll be back in the gym, shortly. I hope, if it goes according to plan, because I'm kind of hoping that they've come a long way since 20 years ago. I was told I needed a total shoulder replacement,
Mm.
and it looked like a keychain. It was that flimsy. I mean, as opposed to knee replacements and hip replacements, they do those in the hundreds of thousands a year. Shoulder
Wow.
replacements back then was only like 50,000 a year. There weren't a lot of specialists at it because there was so much intricacy to the joint movement, and so I put it off. And I spent 20 years on freaking oxycodone and all that shit, man. I was addicted to painkillers and heroin and everything else. But I've been straight for about 11 years now. I've been totally sober. I haven't had alcohol in over 20 years, so I don't have.
Wow.
I'm in pain. I bite the bullet. And I smoke a lot of weed, and I deal with the pain. But it's getting to the point of almost unbearable now, and so I have to go get something done about it. And if they tell me it's a shoulder replacement, I'm just going to have to say, nope, can't do it. Oh, let me give you some Vicodin. Nope, I don't do that shit. So if there's stem cells or anything like that, because people are telling me they've come a long way in 20 years as far as joint replacement goes. So I want to see if they can go in there, maybe clean it out a little bit. It's bone on bone is a nasty pain, man. That's chronic. Every time I move, every time I roll over in my sleep, I get a tinge. It must wake me up like 2 or 3 times at night. So it's really hampered my workout, so to speak. But I still, man, I realize if I do have surgery, that they don't operate on fat people. They, if you're morbidly obese, they'll tell you to go lose 50 pounds. So I keep myself stay ready like boxers should do, man. Always ready for the or whatever life's going to throw at you, and that includes keeping myself in the best shape I can at this stage of my life, and that's keep the blood pressure under control, go to physicals, make sure the blood sugar levels are right, and just eat right. Make sure keep your teeth clean, fucking take care of your hygiene. It's all real important, man. It all goes hand in hand. Make sure you're having the proper bowel movements. Make sure you're drinking enough water so your urine's coming out not brown. Make sure it's coming out nice and light yellow. But there's just so many things, and you got to do those once you get to a certain age. Nobody's gonna do them for you anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, that's some awesome stuff right there, Bruce. Yeah, and hopefully they can work that with the shoulder. I know they have made some advancements in different areas, so I believe that might be the case. I know my mom, she ended up getting a little shoulder thing. They did something, they call it a balloon or something they put in there, and it relieves pressure or moves the bones from rubbing up against each other. So maybe even something like that. It was kind of like an outpatient patient surgery type thing. But I don't know all the particulars, but certainly
they had for the knee. But see, the thing is, the knee only goes one way, and the hip only goes one way. The shoulder is so intricate. It's got so many different facets. You bend it, you move it up, you move it down. They couldn't stabilize anything like that in the shoulder before because they did have a foam that they would put into your knee so it wouldn't be bone on bone. And they told me that your shoulder joint's not stable enough to use that yet. This was 20 years ago. Maybe it's changed. I hope it has. And hey, that plate in there to keep the pressure there, that sounds ideal. That's because that pretty much is the heart of the matter. The cartilage wears out because I was doing bench pressing and powerlifting with these crazy animals that were, they were benching 500 pounds. They were deadlifting 100 pounds off the floor. I wasn't doing that crazy amount of weight, but I was doing this respectable weight just so I could train with these guys. And all the years of doing that, I wore the cartilage in my shoulders out. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
place if I could do it all over again, I would do it much more sensibly. I'd check the ego at the door.
Yeah.
Training, you could, it was just next guy up there. You want to take some weight off that bar? Nah, leave it on there. Bang, and the next day, but
Oh yeah. Know how that can be, certainly. But no, this is man, this is such great information there, Bruce. Like kind of wake up call information. Hey, make that change. You're right. It takes that discipline, once you get in that routine and you get it going and you commit yourself to it, get to that stage. I know I need to do that myself, as a matter of fact. This has been motivating in that regard. So hey, wake up call for sure.
yeah, get that regular, the annual physical, get that checkup, the nose to the toes, have everything checked out, and talk to your doctor about your diet. Tell him, find out if you can improve the circulation is big. So many different vegetables improve circulation, and that's a cause of the numb feet. A lot of diabetics they have lousy circulation, and there are things like red beets, man. They call them vasodilators, and the blood get more circulation. So this just small things like that. You can include things in your diet, and before you know it, man, you're eating more good things than you're eating bad things. So.
Okay, man, yeah, that is some awesome stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna get on that. As a matter of fact, I know through the VA, I have a dietitian. As a matter of fact, she had reached out to me. I need to reply back to her, get a routine going. So no, that is excellent stuff right there, Bruce. And for you, Rodolfo, yeah, you're young. Hey, heed to these words. It'll look like you got it.
Yeah, the thing with my family is that I'm Mexican, right? So the greens don't really. We mostly just see like meat and like rice, beans, like that. So something to look out for because we barely eat any greens. That's the thing, Bruce.
How's your family history? Is it you have a
it's a bunch of
life? Everybody living to their 80s and 90s.
A bunch of them live in their 80s and 90s, surprisingly, but a lot of them have like diabetes and stuff like that. That's the thing.
Well, see, these are the things. Adult onset diabetes. If you have type 1 diabetes, you're going to die with that. But if you have the type 2 onset diabetes, dietary changes can control that. I've seen so many people who are insulin dependent become non-insulin dependent when they just lower the foods that trigger the insulin spikes. So it can definitely be done. And I realized that the Spanish food, a lot of saturated fats in there, a lot of fried foods, heavy on the carne, heavy on the meat. So it's a tough thing, but man, add a salad, have a salad before you have those tacos or the refried beans, and you'll be better off for it, Rodolfo.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love my broccoli, so I'll make sure to have my broccoli in there once in a while.
No, that's good. No, that's the way to go.
Believe it or not, you need fiber so bad that if you don't get it through your diet, Metamucil is not a bad way to go, bro. I mean, all that is psyllium husks, and it regulates your the way your body breaks down the nutrients. So you got to get that fiber in there, and believe me, you're gonna thank me every time you have a bowel movement. You're gonna say, "I'm glad I listened to that Bruce Gas. I'm getting this good."
Oh, certainly.
Hey guys, man, it's been a great show, brother.
Oh yes. No, definitely has, Bruce. Man, I surely appreciate you dropping on, taking the time to share some of that great knowledge there, Rodolfo as well. Yeah. Man, this has really topped it. Just thinking about it. So. Hey, we got to do it again. You got to do it again, Bruce. And of course, I'm going to drop by your spot and, keep it live. Keep it live for sure.
Oh, yeah. We haven't even touched it yet, bro. I mean, there's so many. The rice and beans. Rice is it's an incomplete protein. Beans is an incomplete protein. You eat them together, you have a complete protein. So, I mean, I used to eat chicken, rice, and beans. There was a Mexican takeout place on the same plaza that I had my nutrition store, and I'd call the guy up, and as soon as the phone rang, chicken, rice, and beans. I'll be right there. Bang. That was a, hey, peace to both of you and everybody out there in the audience, man. Thank you.
Peace, Bruce.
No doubt about it. Thank you, Bruce. Bruce Gas, everyone. Bruce Gas. Salute to you, Dan. Had some good questions, all that good stuff. Today decided to get better views. So hey, yeah, great knowledge right there shared by Bruce. Man, it's a pleasure being able to have him come on, do such. But yeah, someone you definitely should check out. Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. And man, yeah, great. Got a little history, got a little life lesson, all that good stuff. I feel I'm good. Good, Rodolfo. And man, of course, thank you for hopping on. We'll certainly have to do it again. Be in contact, we'll be able to chat. So good stuff. And appreciate everyone else who dropped by as well. Salute to Orlando, Hollywood, Hollis. Bruce Gas just dropped the link in the channel link in the chat there. So even if you're listening on replay, you get to this point, make sure to go check out Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. Subscribe. He's on the road to 1,000 right there. Bruce been putting in a lot of work. So salute to you. And as always, of course, thanks everyone who drops by and checks us out.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone subscribe to Bruce. Give him to 1,000 for sure. He's a good dude. He's dropping gems. He's saving lives out here with all the nutrition stuff.
Without a doubt. So yeah, thank you, Rodolfo. Thanks everyone who dropped by. Dan, Beagle, Bruce, etc. Random Acoustic Thoughts, hop on. Hollywood, Hollis, Orlando, Hollis. Be sure to check him out. Got some fights out there on YouTube. Boz, everyone. Did I miss anyone? Alex, Flack. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Appreciate all of you actually dropping by. Elijah as well. So we will be back, and we will have to do this again, folks, in Hyphy. Yeah, shout out Hyphy who dropped by as well. We'll do this again, but in the meantime, certainly enjoy the rest of your evening and this nice weekend. May it be fruitful.
Salute.
Peace.